Is that supposed
No,
to be a
that's
reference to medieval
that's just,
when you...
No.
that's just her internally screaming.
Yeah, it's just me internally screaming. Okay, so what are we looking at?
Captain America's novelization.
Oh boy.
Okay. According to YouTube, we are now live, so hello everybody. Welcome
Hi, I'm back.
welcome to CFA Riffs. I'm Alex. That's y'all's cue to go down the line and introduce yourselves.
Sorry.
I'm Dylan.
I'm SpavVy.
And this is Jackass.
Okay, so our first CFA Riffs was over on my channel, Bright Steel Stars, because the Comics for All YouTube channel was not allowed to do live streaming at the time. Now, that stream is flagged as NSFW and 18 plus because we were going over a certain former member of the Discord's art, and
art.
yeah, and unfortunately, we had some technical difficulties with that stream. It went for like it was supposed to go for like 3 hours, but it went for like 30-40 minutes. And some highlights are us getting more and more frustrated with his inability to go into corners and colorize the edges of things, finding places where he'd obviously traced stuff from, and then at the very end, I was kind of broken by the fact that he took my beautiful sweet waifu Moko Akashia and completely butchered her.
Yeah, I offer to draw her for you, and I will get to that.
Thank you. I appreciate that a lot, Kevin. Not Kevin. Dylan. Fuck. I knew I was going to do something. I'm tired.
You know I'm not an artist.
I'm tired. I didn't have my coffee this morning.
Hi, tired. Name's Kevin. Nice to meet you.
All right there, Dad. Anyways, so what we're going to be doing this time is, as you may have been able to tell, the stream is a single still image because we were having overload issues. So the stream is a single still image. We're broadcasting at 2,000 frames, not 2,000 frames per second, 2,000 kilobits a second, and at 10 FPS. And I am going to be reading this novel aloud to y'all.
Oh boy.
Don't miss the continuing adventures of Captain America. Fuck off.
Oh boy.
The movie storybook, The Hydra Files, America's Secret Weapon, Operation Super Soldier, and The Great Escape. Spoiler warning, none of those make this book any better. Captain America, The First Avenger, adapted by Elizabeth Rudnick, based on the motion picture screenplay by Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely.
Featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry series.
Yes, and this is a first edition, but it's in terrible shape, and nobody wants a first edition of this anyways. So, Chapter 1, and we're already off to a flying start. Steve Rogers stood nervously in line at the Army Recruitment Center in Bayonne, New Jersey. Tell me what's wrong here.
New Jersey.
Aside from New Jersey. Everybody here has seen the 2011 Captain America movie, right?
Yes.
I have, but I'm a little fuzzy on the details.
We're missing the introduction of Red Skull.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. By the way, I should mention, I have this book because I was buying up all of the Marvel and DC movie novelizations so that I could read them for research for a project that Kevin and I are doing and that Dylan may later become involved in.
Quote-unquote research.
Not that type of quote-unquote research. Anyways, and what I like to look for in movie novelizations is like alternate interpretations and things like that of stuff. And one of the things that I was also doing for this project is I'm reading the Captain America script at the same time because they published an actual script for this movie in, I think it was like 2013 or 2014. Anyways.
It was somewhere around there.
Yeah, so there's, it starts off in the 40s. So we're skipping the setup of Captain America. being in the ice. We're also skipping Red Skull's introduction.
Oh, not good.
Yeah, spoiler warning, that's going to become a massive fucking problem later on.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-oh.
Ahead of him, men stepped up one by one, and one by one they got approved to join the army. Steve sighed and waited for his turn, which seemed as if it would never come. Looking around, he noticed several newspaper headlines about a brutal attack on a small Norwegian town that had left civilians hurt and homeless. That's referencing Red Skull's attack on the tower, when he got the Tesseract.
Oh.
We're not actually going to see Red Skull get the Tesseract.
Oh.
America was at war. Across the ocean, Europe was full of gunfire and explosions. Men, women, and children were losing their lives and their homes as enemy forces invaded country after country. It had been going on for years before America got involved. But now soldiers from the United States were flooding Europe. Oh, yeah, by the way, hey, some of these pages are just randomly faded. I don't know why. Hey, some of them just have worse printing than the other. It's like every other page has faded text.
Oh. Bad printing, maybe?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a Marvel... Let me see who published this. Marvel Film Finance... Yeah, Marvel Press Disney Book Group. Okay, yeah, fuck the Disney Book Group. Flooding Europe, hoping to help the good guys win, but it wasn't going to be an easy or a short fight. Spoiler warning, the war ended less than a year after this movie and this book is set.
Oh, shit.
Steve felt the now familiar rush of anger and frustration. He wanted to be over there fighting more than anything in the world, but try as he might, he couldn't get past anyone in the recruiting centers, no matter how many attempts he made. Steve had never been a big guy. Growing up on the streets of Brooklyn, New York, he and his best friend, James quote-unquote Bucky Barnes, no mention of Bucky's middle name there, which is where he...
Buchanan Barnes.
Yeah, which is where he gets the nickname from, Jesus Christ, guys, had gotten into their fair share of fights. But it was usually Bucky who managed to keep them safe. Steve was scrappy with small muscles, frail bones, and a list of ailments that made doctors roll their eyes. Still, Steve had a big heart. Typically doctors wouldn't roll their eyes at a patient. Still, really? Steve had a big heart, and he figured that some army recruitment center would eventually give him what he wanted most, a 1A stamp. Then he could be an official United States soldier, which is why he now stood in line in the 5th Recruitment Center in the 5th City, hoping that this would be the day. He knew it was not exactly legal to try and enlist in multiple locations, but so far no one had seemed to catch on. No one had seemed to have caught on, sorry. "Rogers, Stephen," a voice called out, startling Steve. He stepped forward, wiping his hands nervously on his pants. The doctor opened his file and began to scan it, his eyes growing wide as he took in all of the ailments that had been checked off. The paper looked like it had been attacked by a red pen. "Sorry, son," he said, looking up at Steve. "You'd be ineligible on your asthma alone." He didn't say it, but Steve knew what he was thinking. Excuse me, Jesus Christ. "You're a fool, kid. This war is for strong men, not for guys like you. Not for guys who can't even breathe right." "You can't do anything?" Steve asked anyway, hope in his voice. "I'm doing it," the doctor answered. "I'm saving your life." Then as Steve watched, the doctor pulled out the dreaded stamp. With a resounding thunk, he pressed it down on the file, marking it with a big black 4F. Steve had failed. Again. Line break.
"You have failed this city."
Line breaks are going to come at a fucking premium in this book.
Hey, at least it's better than period, quotation mark, comma.
Oh, God, yeah. For those of you who don't know, we wrote if I can ever figure out how to recover those video files, we read this story called The Dark Incubus, and the author persistently put in period, quotation mark, comma at the end of every single bit of dialogue that the characters had. It was, frankly speaking,
it was
absurd.
Atrocious.
Even I never did that early fan fiction in my early fan fiction career.
Yeah. A short while later, Steve was back in Brooklyn inside a darkened movie theater. Up on the screen, images from the front lines flashed by in a newsreel. There was a picture of a bombed-out town, followed by images of soldiers pulling wounded men out of the line of fire. Another image showed the enemy marching into an undefended town, knocking down people and buildings as they went. Question, how did they capture that? Nearby, Steve heard the unmistakable sound of someone crying.
Perhaps they made it up in the film. Meanwhile, I am watching an animation on wisdom teeth removal because apparently that has been my fascination for some reason. Don't ask.
Okay, I gotta step away for a little bit. It'll probably take like 10 or 15 minutes. It's,
What do you want me to fill it with?
Kevin, Dylan, and SpavVy, you guys try to go over the highlights of the last stream, and when y'all get done with that, start talking about some of the other stuff I've subjected y'all to, because I don't know if I can recover those video files or not. And, you know, this is my... this is my stream, but I won't be present for this, so you guys can feel free to roast me as much as you want. I'm giving you full permission. But, SpavVy, Kevin, do note that anything related to NGE Alternative Saga is off limits.
Fuck!
I mean, I kind of already thought that, but okay.
And Kevin and Dylan, anything related to that project we're working on is also off limits.
God damn it!
Alright.
Oh yeah, Dylan also does work for NGE Alternative Saga. Go check that out. Sponsored break, NGE Alternative Saga. Go check it out. Pornhub just disabled my account, even though it's in the It's not in the NSFW section. It's in the SFW section.
Wait, it was on Pornhub?
Work, guys. Yeah,
wait, it was on Pornhub?
Yeah, that was where I got most of the views on the series.
Oh my god, I was on Pornhub.
Make things work.
I have registered for the I have registered for like their further verification program, and I may need to get you guys to sign some paperwork later, so that you can appear in the videos. Yeah.
Okay.
Even though there's no nudity in it whatsoever, I'm still
Right.
probably gonna have to get you guys.
Do I have to print
to
this
sign
out at
disclaimers.
my house?
I don't think so.
I hope I don't have to print anything out.
I don't think
Right.
so.
Swear to
Anyways,
God.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna try to.
My
be
mom
as
and
quick
dad
as
are gonna
possible.
look at me weirdly, be like, I'd be like,
And
I have
you
an
guys,
explanation for this.
yeah, you guys hold down the fort. I'll be right back. Yeah.
You're
It's
on
for
Pornhub?
voice acting, I swear.
Oh shit, that means I'm on Pornhub too.
Right?
SpavVy, think about you.
On Pornhub
Both you
as
and me
well.
were featured in a video that's on Pornhub.
So
Well, I think things have moved a little too fast.
okay.
Yeah.
The highlights from last stream is y'all freaking out over how the line work is. As to which I'm like, I'm more freaking out over the fact that they forgot to erase certain details. I noticed this, and then Alex is like, "Oh my god, I noticed it too." What were you, Dylan?
Oh, talk about Aspie. Oh my god.
Yeah, he drew something again recently, and I think it's that
lovely!
lolly is that lolly dragon character. Yeah,
Which one?
Oh no.
it's that
He did.
one that was like also part of the Ugandan Knuckles meme. I don't watch that anime, I'm sorry, but she was like
not
also
an
part of
anime,
that as
it's
the queen.
VR. It's a
No.
VR.
No.
Or is the
Like
Lolly
she
Dragon
was
from...
yeah, she was
Is
part
it
of the
Lolly
meme.
Dragon from friggin' what's it called? Hold on, Dragon Maid?
Yeah, that one I think.
Ah, okay.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
pulling up his Twitter account.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I saw that and I just cringed like a little bit more than I normally do when I see his shit.
I'm not ready.
I'm ready. Oh,
Oh,
no,
Oh,
I know
no.
I'm not ready.
oh no, that character he retweeted. Oh no, she doesn't. She doesn't look legal.
Yeah, she don't look legal to me.
Oh no! He
What?
outright-
Someone who
He-
draws hentai.
No, he
I
outright
ends up
fucking.
lecturing. Ended up trying to say that Karen Strassman is a problematic individual
No,
just because
he
he
drew
supports
a-
Trump.
He drew a fucking lolly. No. No, he drew her naked too. What the fuck?
Told you it's
I'm
bad.
not, I'm not joking about that. About what I just said.
Yeah, he's
Like,
That's like no, dude.
I have had to tell more people to shut their traps yesterday than I would like to most of the time, because telling people to shut their traps is something I'm just like, okay.
yeah. Oh, God, my mouth fucking hurts. Painkillers kick in, please.
I was gonna say something about that thing we weren't supposed to talk about, both of those things, but then he said no, it's forbidden. I'm like, damn it. Because I wanted to use that opportunity to roast to grill him on that.
Mm-hmm.
But no. I'd be curious how he'd react to some of the jokes from Justice League versus Titans, especially the part, including the part where Beast Boy kind of forgot to put on clothes during training.
Oh no.
I'd be like, okay, what ideas would you have for this particular segment if we were to abridge it? Because as a reminder, Raven's looking down south, and then she's like, and then she just like, and then turns away. She's like, oh right. She's like, you're naked, right?
Oh, that
like,
one.
You were staring at that schlong a little longer than most people would.
She just gotta make like a really like, just like make her look like a thirsty.
Here's what I kind of imagine. And one of the things I kind of imagined was like, Beast Boy just like talks a little bit, and then Raven's like, I'm not sure how the rest. I may enjoy your gung ho attitude, Udgar, but I don't think the rest of the team would appreciate that.
Okay, this shit's going to
just
the
because
chemotherapy
I don't
channel.
want Damien and Raven in shipping to be a thing.
Yeah.
I don't
a lot
know
of people
how
seem to not like that.
I don't know how we'd have to do it, but I just want it so that at Damien, so that there's. I just want to see if we could just make it so that at Damien doesn't, so that we don't have to put up with Damien and Raven.
Right.
I mean, we'll have Damien in the thing, but not shipped with her.
SpavVy looking
it, we'll get rid of Apocalypse War if we have to.
Look in the
We'll
chemotherapy channel.
Chemotherapy.
Oh, the chemotherapy channel. Oh no.
Let me see.
No.
I'm more offended at the terrible, terrible art.
Those abs look like those abs look like he like drew them on with a marker.
Yes, they do. Those would look like the abs that I draw.
Are they like wearing cowboy hats or something, or am I?
Yes.
I can't even.
Okay. Yep, they are.
Okay.
I didn't read it yet.
Okay, obviously this girl's getting done in the butt because if you look at
no, it's supposedly penetration, even though you can't draw that. You can't actually show penetration. It's a rule of art. You could show a blowjob, but you can't show the actual act of penetration. Like, you show it when it's already in there, but you can't show the act of it.
No, all right,
Really?
but the thing, Wait, what rule is that
from
for?
what I'm told.
Are you thinking about like Japanese like hentai or something? Because they kind of do tend to censor that.
Yeah, I think, but I'm not sure if that's a rule of thumb in general art.
Yeah, but this is a white boy, and this is obviously traced from porno. But it looks like her hoo-hoo isn't
better
even
Rule 34 art from other Rule 34 artists.
Yeah, I've drawn better Rule 34.
Okay, so
Mm?
I seriously would have to ponder. SpavVy, how thirsty would you end up making Raven in that instance?
I mean, I can make her as thirsty as you want me to make her.
No, she'd just be staring for a bit, and just a bit longer. She'd just be like,
She's just
No,
like, I just picture like the inner thought, just like nice.
No, you just make the scene go on for longer.
No, that would be it. No. That would be it. No. That would be in like a that would be like a bonus deleted scene. Like, or rather one of those end post credit scenes where Raven's
Yes.
just then and like and then suddenly you hear the thing go, nice.
Nice. Yeah. Beast was just like, I feel like I might be getting preyed upon.
No.
I don't know why.
Then it cuts to him still in a state of undress, just like, I feel like I'm being preyed upon.
Yes.
Okay, so I posted something in NSFWR. It's a commission I did to troll someone.
I don't know how Alex would feel about our conversation getting this weird. He's gonna look at this stream, and then he's gonna be like, "What the fuck were you guys talking about?"
Nani the fuck?
We're talking about Aspie drawing some pretty shit. No, I mean more than usual, like FBI open up kind of shit.
Yeah, that's definitely FBI open up.
So would be the rest of our conversation.
Yeah, but it's like that's more of a joke, and it's not really showing anything.
It's just a joke. I mean, hell, episode 2 had Canon Misato lusting over alternative saga Shinji. So,
yeah.
To be fair.
Yeah, but that's still more. That's still
more. To be fair, we're not far off.
Okay, but that's more bad implication than anything. This he outright
the
fucking
pilot the vagina, Shinji. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Alright, never mind.
No,
this isn't in anything post episode 2, so we're good. Because episode 2 is still up. Anything past that, we can't discuss.
Yeah.
So where did you post that troll art?
NSWR. It's these two characters getting together from separate books. It's to mess with the author for Changeling.
Okay.
Oh my, her nipples are poking right out of her. Her nipples are erect and poking right out of that shirt.
Yes.
Classic hentai. By Mark.
Huh?
Okay.
Yeah, he's like this Spartan character. And like and you see the main character Changeling on the second page. Just
we have to remember one little detail. Raven doesn't outwardly express her emotions due to the fact that, if she were to do that, her powers would just go.
Yeah.
So we'd have.
So she thinks it.
So yes, she thinks it, but if she thinks it too hard, then it might just happen.
Did you read through it?
Oh my god, that last panel though, that's
I'm moving
literally me in my bed, just like, I'm moving out. When my dad had his girlfriend over.
Oh god.
Yeah, I just wanted to die. I was like, no, ew, I'm out of here.
Guy jumps into his wheelchair. He's like, I have crippling depression.
Yeah, that was me.
I got paid to make this.
That's great.
I got paid to work.
Yeah. You just see May's face. She's just like, I'm moving out. With all that, oh fuck, oh god, yes, sorry. Yeah, this had a script and everything, and I just followed it.
I love the sparkles.
You know what my favorite part of Frozen was?
What was your favorite part of Frozen?
The part where they didn't sing Let It Go. Oh, wait. Never mind.
You know what my favorite part of Frozen was?
What?
When I didn't see it.
Smart.
When it ended.
I ended up seeing it twice, unfortunately.
Yeah, I
you could
saw
tell
it
this
a
movie
couple
was
times.
rewritten so many different times.
You want to hear something weird? When it first came out, I was able to like avoid it for like an entire month.
I was able to avoid it for a year.
Oh
Good on
shit!
you.
Good for you.
Kingdom Hearts 3 has that as a world, and yes, Let It Go is one of the cutscenes that plays in it.
God damn it! And I haven't even gotten to that part yet.
Let me just say that world is a dumpster fire.
Ah!
I mean, Kingdom Hearts 3 kind of is a dumpster fire. Let's be honest here.
I like it, but at the same time, no.
I like it for nostalgia reasons.
Yeah, honestly, for me, Kingdom Hearts 3 feels less. It doesn't really feel like a numbered sequel. It feels like a spin-off again.
It's almost like it was developed by the spin-off people, Team Osaka. Oh wait, yes it was.
I remember when I went to Disney World and I was like forced to go on that Frozen ride.
Why were you forced to go on that Frozen ride?
Because we had like fast passes and everything, and
who is the cruel person that forced you to go through that?
My boyfriend and his family. I did not want to go on that ride, and we were still in line for hours, even though we had fast passes.
He should have been able to read the room.
You need a big buff Spartan man with a stump for a hand, like in the comic.
I don't think he wanted to go on it either. I think we were both just kind of, the family was just kind of like, nah, we're going on the ride.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then when the Let It Go part came out, I was just like, no.
Then it's a small world after all, because I've been on that ride before.
I've been on it before, but I didn't go on it that year.
Smart move.
And then the Peter Pan ride, those animatronics, they're creepy. They stare into your soul.
More so than the Chuck E. Cheese?
I don't know. I don't know, Chuck E. Cheese is kind of creepy too. When I was like 9 years old, I went to Chuck E. Cheese.
Ended up inspiring Scott Cawthon to make Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, when I went to Chuck E. Cheese the last time, I was about maybe 9 years old, and I just cried when Chucky came out because I was so scared of him. I just started crying.
God, I remember
Chucky is in the commercials was actually voiced by Babbidy's actor from Dragon Ball Z.
Oh.
Oh no. Wow.
I didn't know that.
Duncan Brennan voiced Bobbity and Chuck E. Cheese. Sadly, Chris Sabat also voiced one of the Chuck E. Cheese cast members, as well as Stephanie Nadolny.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
Now you know. It's the purple guy that looks like Grimace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't like animal mascots all that much, even to this day.
Yeah,
You'd
God, I
hate
think
You'd hate playing Five Nights at Freddy's. Let me
Oh, I've
just tell you
played it. I've played
I've
it.
gotten up to night 4 without dying.
Yeah, I got traumatized at Chuck E. Cheese when I was like 4 years old, and I still remember it.
I have somehow managed to almost beat the base game without dying once.
I forget what night I was on, but I remember I was playing it and I was on my lunch break at work. And I turned on the camera and I saw Foxy just like darting through the hall, and I was like, "Oh no, no!" And then I I managed to shut the door in time, which I think was pretty funny because I was doing this on a tablet, and I was just like, "Ha ha ha, fucker!
Here's
Okay,
how
I'm gonna
you do. Here's how
I'm
you
gonna check
do
the
it.
cameras now."
Here's how you
And
do it.
Bonnie
Left,
got me.
turn on the left lights, or turn on the right lights. Turn on the left lights. Pirates Cove. Repeat
Yeah,
repeat the process, and if repeat the process until you win. That's it.
yeah, but
It's something I learned from watching Markiplier attempt the 2020 mode,
mhm.
the 420 mode, as it were.
Yeah, I almost got killed by
know,
Foxy, but then Bonnie ended up getting
man,
me
if
out of nowhere.
LJ had that much dank weed in his thing, how did he get how did he get infected and turn into a zombie in Extinction? That made no fucking sense, man.
I don't know.
Okay, so have we all seen Naruto?
Oh, I used to watch it all the time as a kid.
I have cringe Naruto fan comics.
Oh.
Yeah. Like I made in 2011. Almost 10 years ago.
Oh.
I used to be so fond of Naruto, but then it got really, 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 really fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was 13 years old when I wrote those comics, mind you.
I was into Naruto probably up until like the end of middle school, and then I just kind of got into better anime.
Good.
Oh, you know what? I could probably pull up some. I can probably take some pictures and pull up some images. If I can find it, it's some solid cringe. Oh, here it is. Got the hiccups. Okay. Okay, what part do you guys want to see first? The part where Naruto has a gun?
Yes.
Are we sure you're not talking about Lars and Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 2?
I didn't even look. Just fucking Naruto with a gun.
So wait, is it ironically or unironically wielding a gun?
The whole entire thing is played straight.
So who is he pointing the gun at?
Sasuke, but he accidentally shoots Sakura.
Well, that's still a win.
It's still better than Aspie's rating.
Like I said, it's still a win.
Take a picture of that shit.
Yes.
Like
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay. Hold on.
I don't care if it's bad. I just want to see Shocksucker get shot.
Yes.
Freaking useless.
This is delicious.
Okay, here we go.
I love how we're supposed to be roasting a Captain America comic, but we end up talking about our book, but we end up talking about everything but the Captain America book.
Because I haven't read the book.
Neither have I. And I don't plan on getting it.
Okay. Okay, hold on. It's kind of faded. Okay, hold on.
I have now officially seen a Yu-Gi-Oh protagonist is spinning around a gun. Gonna post this in internet bullshit.
Okay. Well, let me try and edit these to make them visible.
Reminder.
Oh my god. Spins a gun
Reminder, 4Kids would not have this scene in there because they don't like guns.
I mean, they probably like change it into a lollipop somehow if they're not that lazy.
No, they would change a cigarette into a lollipop.
Well, I know they did that, yeah. In One Piece.
And then they forgot to edit the lollipop up in when Zoro got cut by Mihawk. They also forgot to edit out the blood.
Oh. Didn't they like butcher Naruto too?
No.
Okay. I must be thinking of something.
Oh wait, you're thinking Disney XD's edits for Shippuden?
No, I meant in general.
No, there were 2 dubs that aired for that they did for Naruto. One on which ended up toning down the dialogue. In the Cartoon Network dub. But and another dub that came out on DVD and Blu-ray. Yes, they have Blu-ray for Naruto now. Where the swearing is intact. Disney XD tried airing Naruto, but then they ended up giving up after the filler arc, after the first filler arc of season 3.
Not surprised.
Because one of the main villain's power in the next plot arc ends up using blood. A considerable amount of it. To the point where it would be really jarring if suddenly that blood was completely edited it out.
Yeah.
I'm trying to... Oh, there we go.
I'm Batman.
Okay.
You know, they say that everything is Batman. Everything is cool when you're Batman.
Okay. Okay, this is going in critique of art. Okay. So, oh, Jesus Christ! I tried my best to enhance the.
Okay, watch this. Okay, watch this, guys.
Oh, okay.
He just pulls out a fucking gun. She just jumps in front of Sasuke.
Oh my god.
Wait, hold on. Let's see this.
Oh my god.
Hold on. I need to view the. Oh, come on. I can't even zoom in on this. So he's pointing a gun. Oh my. Don't shoot. Move, Sakura. You wouldn't kill a friend, would you? Don't test your luck, Sasuke.
Goodbye, Sasuke.
Hey, goodbye, Sasuke.
That look in his eyes. He's
No!
gonna. I must
Shot
stop him.
Sakura.
Bang! No.
Hey, that's still a win. That's still a win. As
I love
far as
it.
I'm concerned, that is still a win.
Oh, this is right after the page. This is right after the pages where Sakura tried to have her way with Naruto.
What the fuck?
God, I hate her so much. And people wanted to ship her with Naruto, and I'm just like, she literally made fun of him for being an orphan.
Yes, she did.
She's literally a piece of shit.
She is.
Yeah. Yeah, but no.
And yet people are like...
Yeah, but no, my pink-haired girl. Okay.
And then she still ends up with Sasuke, even though he wanted to do, like, nothing for, like, the rest of the series. He wanted nothing to do with her. He's tried killing her a couple times.
Yeah, that's total love right there.
Yep. I was just like, wow, that's a great message to send to little girls, I guess.
Okay, hold on. Let me... Okay. Trying my best to make this shit visible. Yeah, no, this is just like pure, like, what the fuck?
What is it in Critique of Art?
Hold on.
I swear,
Alex,
like I said, Alex is gonna come back here. He's gonna wonder, what the fuck have you guys been doing? I'm just gonna be like, oh, you know, stuff.
Just doing stuff.
Okay. I made sure to...
This wouldn't look out of place if this were Adventure Time. If I'm being honest.
Oh, I have one of those too.
Sasuke's eyes are so far apart here. His eyes are so far apart.
For me, that makes it even better.
Okay,
He's a fucking space alien. Does he have two sets of eyes here? Does he have two sets of eyes? Okay.
What the fuck? What the fuck is that?
Oh my god.
Oh my god, like, that last panel, like, Naruto looks like me when I was on those painkillers last night. And those painkillers are opiates.
Previously on the Captain America riff, we discussed some very interesting topics.
He looks real Naruto. I think that's Naruto looks really fucking high.
Hold on a sec. Okay, guys, I have a fantastic idea.
Did you give her abs?
To get Alex back into the
Yes,
room.
I did. I couldn't draw abs back then.
Okay, guys, I have a fantastic idea on how to get Alex back into the room.
How?
I intend to read the thing known as...
Huh?
There is a fan fiction that exists called Amnesia.
Oh. Okay, hold on, I'm gonna see if I can find the Adventure Time one. Because I still have these, like, in a box somewhere. Just
hide them away. Box of secrets.
No, just... oh, wait, no, that's a Batman one. They're all in, like, these big-ass sketchbooks, too. One Invader Zim one I did where it's actually pretty decent.
Here we go. I found it. Okay, I'm going to screen share this to you guys. Now, I want you to gander at this.
Okay.
Okay, I will read it aloud to you guys. One day, Danail and Alexandre was torturing some people when they had an amnesia. I'm having an amnesia, Danail says. Stay, Alexandre said. Me too. Soon they had forgot everything, even the grocery list, and the people they was torturing ran away. Soon they had been dressing up that day, so Alexandre was wearing a pretty dress for a lady, not a man dress at all. Normally, they would know that Alexandre was doing it ironically, but they had amnesia, so they didn't. I don't know WTF I am doing here, Danail said slowly. Yeah, me too. I like your dress, Alexandre. It's pretty and in pink. Why, thank you, Danail. They smiled at each other and got a memory back. Alexandre, I think you must be my whiff.
My whiff.
It was a false memory, but they didn't know this. Why, yes, I am definitely your wife, and you are not Danail, you are Maniel. Oh, Alexandre watched as Daniel transformed into Maniel with lots of mucils in his skin. Yes, that's spelled like it's the clam. Alexandre is full of mucils when he was a boy, but now he is old and his mucils are weak like spaghetti. That is spelled Spaggetty. What is our job, Alexandre? I do not remember. Alexandre looks at torture implements and decides we must run medieval castle tours. Yes, let's be a castle tours, Maniel says, and to kissing Alexandre as they work a schedule for children for Trilden in the Torb Castle many days. As they look in basement and find many dead people. Maniel, I'm scared, Alexandre says. Yeah, me too. So, they run away from Creepy Castle and to be vegetable makers, and because they have left Creepy Castle, they never got back bad memories.
Oh my god.
This is a real fan fiction written by someone who clearly does not know what he's writing for.
Right,
oh my god.
I'll be right back.
Alexandre and Maniel have happy life growing much vegetables and making it a vegetable candy. Oh jeez, my parents are arguing again.
No.
Their life is not a burden to anyone until one day a head Agrippa comes and knocks on door. Knock, knock, knock. Yes, hello, Maniel says. What are you doing here? I am your lover, head Agrippa says, and you must have chatted on me with a man of spaghetti strength. What? Maniel says, confused. I am betrayed. That is spelled Betrade.
Jeez.
Head Agrippa cries Chris and Chris. Maniel fell is sorry, but does not know how to help because he has an amnesia of Head Agrippa. His lover, Alexandre, comes to door like, Maniel, who is this head? I do not know, Alexandre. It says I am lover him, but that is a lie? Is not a lie. I am your lover forever, Danielle. Oh, they're not even consistent with how Danielle's name is spelled. See, Alexandre is a very weird head. Alexandre is weirded out, so he kicks Head Agrippa off porch into lake where Head Agrippa sinks. Head Agrippa cannot swim, but with tongue as Head Agrippa has no limbs, and Head Agrippa's tongue is not full of is not of mucils. Head Agrippa's tongue is weak like spaghetti.
I'm just now looking at the screen. Oh my god.
Danielle,
I forbid you to you talk to any more heads of visit us, Alexandre says, and go inside. Maniel is conflicted. And Hedagripa. Who is Hedagripa? Maniel starts of heal. Oh. But oh no, he remembers that he is Dushbag or Dushbug. I think he meant to write douchebag.
Dushbug.
I don't know.
We just need to make that like a word in our group now. Just like stop being a dushbug.
Alexandre, I think I am Dushbug of torture, and Maniel says nervous, and Hedagripa, see my lover. You are chetted on me with a headache? No, I think I am chetted on headache with you. No, screams Alexandre, and turn into dragon from the shock. Help, Maniel say, but dragon is to kick him into lake where he sink next to Hedagripa. Help me, Hedagripa, Maniel says, but Hedagripa is too upset to hear him. That's the wrong usage of hear, by the way. It's Hear. How I defeat this dragon. Alexandre Dragon does a rampage, and destroys all vegetables with his fires. Maniel sits sadly in lake and remembers many bad things. And it's like that Alexandre never shared the Cheerios.
What are they even talking about?
I don't know! Hedagripa, I never should have loved him, Maniel says. It is okay, Danielle. You have an amnesia. Yes, but did I? Yes, I did, but what will I do now? Hedagripa hops into Maniel's laps and cuddles. We will go far away and grow vegetables can kill this Alexandre dragon, and we are repented of all sins. Good idea, Maniel says, and he's snucking away. Oh yeah, with Hedagripa to grow vegetables in secret cave with no sunlight or water whatsoever. Hedagripa is very good and cuddly lover, even though just ahead. So Maniel is happy. Together they plant a turnip that will be the strongest turnip and of forever, and can kill Alexandre, a dragon. Turnip grows, turnip grows, turnip grows, turnip. Turnip is now harpsichord now. Wow, we grew a harpsichord, or Hedagripa said, full of love and for Maniel and harpsichord. Or yeah, Maniel plays song on harpsichord or to lure or Alexandre Dragon close. Alexandre Dragon comes flying down. I'm like, hey.
Okay, so I'm reading back over to comic posted on mine. Did you guys actually do dialogue with this shit?
I like that your dialogue at least actually had everything spelled correctly.
For the most part, I missed some U's in yours. Yeah.
So?
Yeah, but that's like common.
He flows a fire, but the harpsichord is stronger. In minutes, Alexandre Dragon is defeat. Good job, Danielle, Hedagripa said, and hop up to kiss Maniel on knee. Oh dear, Maniel blushed. Then they have of many fornications with their new harpsichord friend and a joyful polygamy forever, as Maniel is repented of all sins and a nice man of kindness now. Oh, harpsichord is very creative in bed and had a do it in all the positions of possibility. Hedagripa is so happy that eats vegetable and stops being weak like spaghetti. Alexandre Dragon goes jail for no repenting and his his rampage is so not allowed out of jail until apology. They all live happily ever after. Happily even after, or even in Tinderboss, which now have castle to themselves and have bred a prosperous Tinderboss family. The Tinderboss then dominate the world, and all humans are slave forever. The Eden.
What the hell?
Oh my
This is a real fan fiction from a real human being. A real human being wrote this.
Oh, why?
There's a second chapter to this.
Oh no.
I was hoping this could get Alex up here, but apparently not.
Look, okay. So since this is streaming, I'll read out a thing of dialogue from the thing I posted.
Okay.
For an exchange between Naruto and Sakura. What do you want?
I'm tired of waiting.
I'm tired of waiting to stop my urges.
Oh, that one.
Okay.
So it isn't love, but lust.
Okay.
No, I love you. I want you to shut up and let me do this. You want me too. No, you're wrong.
Okay.
I was 13 years old when I wrote this.
Yeah, okay. I know. I wasn't expecting it to be Shakespearean, but still.
Shut up. You're the one. Shut up. You're the one who's wrong. You have your whole life. You have your whole life ahead of you. Don't ruin it for one night of fun.
I presume we're no longer in the mood for taking things seriously after reading that horrendous fan fiction.
Naruto looks like he's seen some shit.
He has seen the void. And X-Death be like, it seems you've seen the void. Tell me, what is it like in there?
It's fucking boring.
Naruto's eyes suddenly turn into Hypnoto's eyes from Futurama.
You don't know what I've been through. Sakura, do you know what he's been through?
Yeah. And then after that, like Sasuke throws like kunai at Naruto, but it hits one. But it turns out it was a clone the whole time. Then he appears with a gun.
How random.
Oh yeah, no. Just before this, it lasted for like 4 pages. This whole amnesia plot, and then it ends almost immediately.
It's like, where does the amnesia even play in the story?
I don't know.
After the first two, it takes place after the first 2 pages, and then it goes on for like 4 pages, and then it stops. This is why you write scripts, people.
For the plot. Indeed. That is some very nice plot.
You know what's sad? I made 3 more of this continuous story in sketchbooks. Big ass sketchbook.
You must have been really bored, huh?
What do you mean by that?
Okay, because
really bored.
I found a comic on Twitter, or shut down another restaurant today. What can you do? Orders are orders. But we officers swore an oath to uphold the Constitution. That's funny. Poor girl had dreams. Here's something stupid that someone said about Cyberpunk. Hey, gaming industry, if your video game includes depiction of suicide, sexual violence, etc., then your video game needs to have a content warning before you start playing. There's no excuse.
Yeah, it's called an rating.
I said,
yeah, really.
I simply said, here's a thought. Stop playing video games.
People seem to forget like that things have a mature rating for a reason.
Everyone is entitled to be stupid, but you abuse the privilege.
Yeah. Yeah, like not every game is gonna like pander to you like fucking Tiger Woods Golf Simulator. You know what I'm talking about.
Does Is there a part in the simulator?
It's like go back to watching Steven Universe.
Is there a part in the in this Tiger Woods simulator where you cheat on the woman that you're with?
Okay. You get the joke, right? I'm talking about the Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah.
Okay. My bad. I'm slow.
You're fine. Joel Miller's Dolphin Simulator.
Yeah, I should have picked up on that since the Last of Us. Since Joel died via 9-iron.
Yeah, he died by a Joel in 1.
Oh god, that joke is just so.
Big iron.
Okay, so since we're supposed to be riffing on Captain America, why don't we riff on America's ass?
Oh, you mean America Chavez?
No, his ass.
Oh, his ass.
I'm sorry, Mr. Rogers. That suit did nothing for your ass.
Yeah, I could. I'm busy at the moment, but I could probably post
Don't
more.
look, Tony. It's ridiculous. I think you look great, Cap. As far as I'm concerned, that's America's ass right there.
I could probably post more from the sketchbook.
And then suddenly, after Cap is taken down by Loki's scepter, Cap looks at his past self and he realizes that is America's ass. I'm like, I think there would be plenty of women who'd want to do more than just stare at that ass.
Yeah, they'd want to do more.
Yep. And only available on Chris Evans' OnlyFans account. Yes, Chris Evans has an OnlyFans account.
Oh shit, I thought you were kidding.
I'm not! So you get to see America's ass and America's cock.
Well, shit. This pandemic has everyone desperate.
Yep. Oh man, why wasn't it Henry Cavill? Damn it!
What, you would rather see the super cock?
Yes.
The British super cock, mind you, because as Henry Cavill is
British. Yeah, British.
Fun fact: Henry Cavill was going to be Cedric Diggory in Harry Potter and Edward Cullen in Twilight, but you know the rest. Thankfully, he dodged 2 bullets that Robert Pattinson chose to shield him from. Robert Pattinson hated doing the Twilight movies.
Oh yeah.
I can't blame him.
Yeah, I mean,
considering you have to work with Kristen Stewart, who is a total bitch, I don't blame him either.
Oh my god! Every time when my friends and I watched the Twilight movies just for shits and giggles, and there were times she would just like randomly have her mouth like gaping open, like as if she had to take a crap but didn't want anyone to know.
She's a mouth breather.
She is.
I'm seriously tempted to read the second chapter just to get Alex back in here. But I won't torture you any further.
Oh god, I swear, it's just like, those Twilight, it just seems like, it was so weird that like 40-year-old women were into that too. Like, why? I just don't get it. Alright, I'm gonna see about posting more of my old Naruto comic. You guys still there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, okay, so what is our favorite? So, lah. So, SpavVy, what is your favorite rival boss monster in Yu-Gi-Oh?
Hmm.
We have between Blue Eyes, White, anything from the Blue Eyes archetype. The Cyber End Dragon, or the Cyber Dragons, and then there's Red Dragon Archfiend, the Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragons.
I'd say probably the Blue Eyes, just because as a kid I had a few like Blue Eyes White Dragon cards, and it was my favorite.
I think I still have my Blue Eyes White Dragon card.
I used to have Blue Eyes, but then I lost them.
Oh, that sucks.
Yep.
I don't even know where I can start because it's just.
I don't even know where Yu-Gi-Oh ended up or the Yu-Gi-Oh dub ended up getting its design for polymerization, but I'm just like, that's not what the card looks like.
Okay, I don't even know what's a good point to like show, because like it's there's just like no stand up. I mean, there's a lot of what the fuck moments, but there's just some where I don't even know how to respond or how to describe it. Here, I'll share a couple of drawings, a couple of just normal drawings I did from around the same time.
Alright, I'll take a look at those in just a sec.
Nice animated GIF of Mirror Force.
Okay, that was a monumental waste of time. Hi guys, I'm back. I don't have my headphones on yet. Hang on.
We were totally having normal, sane conversations about things that weren't weird at all in the slightest.
Guys, I know y'all. Well, I know that's not true.
It's true.
Oh,
Believe it or not.
Hey, you wanna? Hey, Alex, when you get the chance, you wanna take a look at my old comic from 10 years ago?
Oh my fucking god. I just looked at chemotherapy, and what the fuck? What the fuck?
Oh, if you scroll through Aspy's Twitter page, you'll find that he drew the Lolly character from Dragon Maid.
18 naked cowboys in the showers at Ram Ranch.
Okay.
What? Okay, I'm going to describe this for the viewers. There's a cowboy on the left of this one girl, and his penis is not so much inside her vagina as it appears to be behind a cardboard cutout of her vagina. Also, his abs are drawn on in the worst way possible.
That is literally what I just said.
Yeah, we already had this conversation.
Wait.
No, damn it. We were talking about ponies.
My little pony, my little pony.
Not those, god damn it.
Okay, so let's get back to the topic of the stream after I tell you guys what we did. So, we went to go check out these tools. My dad and I went to go check out these tools that were on Facebook Marketplace, right? And this guy tried to sell me some Commodore 64 stuff as well, and I was looking at it, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, I'm gonna have to do a lot of fucking work to make these either sellable or usable. And he wanted $150 for it.
Okay, so real talk, I ended up mentioning that we were doing that we were talking about America's Ass briefly, and then we ended up discussing that Chris Evans had an OnlyFans account.
Why did he what?
So you could see both America's cock and America's ass.
Okay, a short while later, Steve was back in Brooklyn inside a darkened movie theater. Up on the screens, images from the front lines flashed by in a newsreel. Someone crying. So many people had already lost loved ones. Steve didn't have anybody who would miss him if he went. His parents had both died when he was young, and his closest friend, Bucky, had already enlisted and was being shipped off the next day. Except that's not actually true, as we will find out later. He would be over in Europe in no time, helping the army win the war, while Steve stayed behind, useless. The sound of an angry voice broke through Steve's thoughts. "Geez, play the cartoon already," someone shouted from behind him. Steve's eyes narrowed. What kind of guy would say something like that at a time like this? He turned in his seat and tried to see who had spoken, but the screen had gone dark for a moment, and it was difficult to make out anyone in the shadows. I'm almost certain that's not how that scene in the movie went, but okay. "Can you keep it down, please?" he asked quietly, hoping that the person with the bad attitude would hear him. But apparently he didn't, because a moment later, the guy called out, "Let him clean up their own mess." Steve shot out of his seat. He had had enough. Typically, that's a place where you'd put a contraction, but whatever. "You want to shut up, pal?" he asked, turning. Then Steve's eyes grew wide. In the light of the screen, he could now see who was talking. The guy was huge and looked way too eager to fight. Steve gulped. What had he gotten himself into? Oh yeah, by the way, Google Maps told us that we were at the right house when we were at the wrong house. So, thanks for that, guys.
Neat. So tell me about the lambs, Clarice. Yes, I can do a creepy Hannibal Lecter.
Thoughts so far.
So far, this is crap.
Yeah,
it's utter crap.
It's like the most bare bones presentation of part of the Captain America storyline, and it's gonna get worse. Trust me. Like, Kevin already knows where it's going, but you guys don't. You're gonna be in for a fucking treat here, guys. Line break. In the alley behind the theater, Steve stood with his fists in front of him. Balancing on the balls of his feet, he bobbed and weaved from side to side, trying to look tough. But the other guy was easily double his size. That's clunky wording, but whatever. With fists the size of Steve's head. The big guy advanced towards Steve, who leaped forward, hitting him with an uppercut, and then getting a good punch into his kidney.
Tiger uppercut.
Shoryuken! The hit made the man flinch, but only for a moment. He came back at Steve, swinging his meaty fists. Steve ducked one punch and then another. Excuse me. You're not the only one with hiccups tonight, SpavVy.
Mine actually went away pretty quickly.
Huh.
Like, as soon as I got onto the stream, it was just like, oh, okay, I guess these are gone now.
He stepped lightly back and out of the way as the guy swung again. Smiling, Steve tried to get another hit in. But then his luck ran out. He tried to punch the guy, but got too close. You're missing a comma there. And in one move, the big man picked up Steve as though he were a rag doll, missing another comma there, and held him high above his head. His small beady eyes narrowed, and then he slammed Steve onto the hard pavement. You know, typically it's the smaller guy who hits the larger guy with the body slam, but whatever. Struggling to get back the wind that had been knocked out of him. Very clinical description of a fight scene here, buddy. Steve unsteadily got to his feet. He shook his head, trying to clear his now spotty vision. Then he grabbed the closest thing he found, a garbage can lid, and held it in front of him like a shield. The guy let out a mean laugh, and then knocked Steve down again. No description as to how. He made a fist, pulled back his arm, and aimed for Steve's face. Just as he went to swing, someone grabbed his bicep, stopping him and momentarily saving Steve. "What's with all the fighting?" a voice asked. "Don't you know there's a war on?" Steve opened his eyes, which he had shut in anticipation of the punch. Yes, we could have gathered that from context, and smiled. You could have also woven that in a little bit better. He knew that voice.
Mm-hmm.
Bucky had arrived. He was dressed in his spotless uniform, a grin on his face as he took in Steve and the big guy. It wasn't the first time he had bailed out his best friend. With a swift kick...
It's Bucky O'Hare!
Yeah, Bucky sent the other guy running out of the alleyway. Typically, kicks don't send people running unless they're weak sauce. But... Okay.
What if they were?
Making his way over to Steve, Bucky helped him to his feet. Then he reached down to pick up the jacket Steve had dropped when the fighting began. Hang on a second. Okay, yeah, no. The I can do this all day scene, Steve did not drop his jacket. He was wearing the jacket.
The whole time.
As he did, Bucky noticed a small piece of paper sticking out of the pocket. Pulling it out, he stifled a groan. It was another recruitment slip.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, you think
Guy
you
doesn't
could,
really know how to write, huh?
hey, you
Nope,
think you
they
could
don't.
No, this is Elizabeth Rudnick, and she does not know how to write, apparently.
Oh, it's a she. Oops.
Hey, you think
Sorry, I just assumed her gender.
You'd be
Hey.
banned off of Twitter for that.
Ah, ban me.
Hey, you think you could have this like pulled up so no, you're actually reading like a physical book, right? Hello? It's right, it's an actual physical book, my bad. Oh shit, he's talking, but I can't hear a fucking thing.
On the 4th of July for me.
Oh, that explains the long pauses, like his audio's messed up.
I love how we're
What's going on?
meanwhile in the background.
Oh, sorry, I had my mic
Oh, no,
muted.
I'm trying to.
And I think I was talking. So, anyways, yeah, I would have given y'all an ebook if I'd have found one, but I couldn't. So, yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, that explains it.
It's whatever.
Yeah, he knew how much his friend wanted to be a soldier, but he also knew that it was probably not going to happen. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. And while Bucky would never say anything out loud... it's sort of mad. It's double space sort of mad. Hang on.
Oh my god.
Oh no. Oh no.
It's double space sort of mad. I wish I could show you guys who are watching the stream right now or the VOD later. I didn't notice this the first time I was reading the book, but, it's sort of mad. Disney, what the fuck?
You can just see his wheels turning.
How? Why? How? Oh my god. This made it to print. True, he wanted to help his country win the war. But he was going to be shipped out tomorrow, and he was nervous. He didn't know what to expect across the ocean, and part of him wished he had the same excuse Steve did. Sighing, he handed the slip of paper back to Steve. Tell me you didn't try to enlist again, he asked. My day will come, Bucky, he said, his voice full of determination. Oh yeah, by the way, I can do this all day. Hey, fucking cut. You know, Steve's fucking arc words. His catchphrase, yeah.
Something that felt something that felt amazing to hear in Civil War when he was fighting Tony.
Yeah. Even now, standing in the dirty alley, Bucky looked like a hero, something Steve could never be. Seeing the sadness in Steve's eyes, Bucky decided to drop the subject. Time was precious now, and it seemed silly to waste it being in a bad mood. He had another idea. Holding up a newspaper, he smiled. On the front page was a picture of the fairgrounds with a title that read, 1942 World Exhibition tomorrow. Want to go? Yeah, wait a second. I thought you were shipping out tomorrow. Why are you going to... How are you... He's shipping out after the World Exhibition? What? This is in the same... This is 2 pages away from each other.
I can just hear his brain broke.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, so... This is 2 pages away from each other. This was literally scrolling distance in the editor. How did nobody notice this?
They probably just didn't care.
I'll betcha. Want to go? He asked. Steve raised a curious eyebrow. Bucky wanted to go to a fair. Now, shrugging, he followed his friend out of the alley. Maybe going to see an exhibition about tomorrow would help him forget all about today. Tomorrow, I love you. Tomorrow, you're only one day away. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys this stuff here. This is on the page of Chapter 1. It has a picture of Captain America. Chapter 2 has another picture of Captain America. You're not fooling anybody, guys. A few hours later, Bucky and Steve made their way onto the fairgrounds. I thought the paper said that it was tomorrow. What was it, yesterday's paper, and you just didn't tell anybody?
I guess so.
Bucky and Steve made their way onto the fairgrounds.
Excuse me for one moment. And I'm not leaving to go anywhere. I'm just gonna be listening to some music to try to distance myself from this terrible writing.
Okay.
Because trust me, I'm gonna need as much burying the light as humanly possible.
Okay, so any commentary from y'all so far?
It sucks.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Like, this is an actual official product that Marvel and Disney put their fucking names on.
Yeah, dude, just like, why?
This costs $6.
Like, how did this get approved?
I mean, they approved, like, the wibbly-wobbly TIE fighter thing that was written in the fucking present tense. So I guess their issues go back farther than they...
Okay, yeah, that... All Right. I mean, of course, I say, why, could they approve this? And it's like, oh, have you seen their comics?
Yeah. At some point, Bucky had managed to find 2 young ladies to accompany them and was busy trying to get Steve to talk with one of them. But it wasn't working. Steve was too busy taking in the sights, particularly the Modern Marvels Pavilion. The fairgrounds looked like something out of a science fiction novel. Unfortunately, not this science fiction novel. Huge futuristic buildings had been erected, and they stood alongside smaller tents and pavilions. High above the ground, a monorail glided silently glided by. I almost said silently. Carrying passengers from one end of the exposition to another. People of all ages wandered around, their eyes wide open at the various sights. Steve had to admit it was pretty amazing. Missing another comma again. Making their way further into the fair, Steve and Bucky noticed a commotion off to one side. Walking closer, they saw a big sign that read Stark Industries. Standing on a raised platform next to a 1942 Cadillac was a man Steve recognized from the papers, Howard Stark. Sir not appearing in this novel. He was a millionaire inventor and notorious playboy. Well, he does, but he's not that important. A notorious playboy who was always photographed out on the town with a beautiful woman on his arm. As they watched, Stark smiled and pulled a lever. Suddenly, thanks to Stark's gravatic reversion technology. God, had to invent a new fucking word, didn't you? The Cadillac lifted off the ground. It was floating. The audience oohed and ahed, taking in the sight of the car of tomorrow. But then, with a thud, the car dropped back to the ground, shaking the platform. Stark just smiled again and began talking about how not even he was perfect. I know dialogue is hard to write, but god fucking damn it, you couldn't have summarized that scene more heavily, could you?
Nope.
What, did you have to pay the actor, or the more likely, hey, did you have to pay, hey, Marcus and McFeely, hey, by the fucking word for adapting their dialogue?
So I just found an old sketchbook. It's supposed to be a Naruto Star Wars crossover.
Oh no.
No, it's you know what's the weird part? It's actually, I made this, I think it was 2013. So obviously I had improved since 2011, and it's except Naruto's like a fucking Sith Lord.
Okay.
And he gets into like an almost DBZ type fight with Obi-Wan, but with lightsaber.
Turning to say something to Steve, Bucky noticed that his friend was no longer by his side. Even Steve's date didn't know where he had gone. Sighing, Bucky went to look for him. That's typically what people do. He found Steve standing in front of the one non-futuristic pavilion in the entire fair, the U.S. Army Recruitment Pavilion. It looked empty. No one wanted to think about the war now, not when they could think about all the amazing things the future held. That's not how it went in the movie. There were people walking up to that thing and, seeing themselves as the soldier in the mirror, you know? I'm looking at the man in the mirror.
I hear Kevin
Yeah, he's singing to try and pretend that this isn't real. No one wanted to think about the war now, not when they could think about all the amazing things the future held. Spoiler warning, Captain Marvel is involved in the future events. The future's not so amazing. No one but Steve Rogers. He stood at the tent, enraptured. "You're really going to do this now?" Bucky asked, walking over to the stand next to him. "I'm going to try my luck," Steve said, nodding. "As who?" Bucky said, his voice harsh. "Asked! Bucky asked! It's a question. Therefore, he asked. God. Steve from Ohio? They'll catch you, or worse, they'll actually take you. Also, I will mention here, Steve from Ohio is inside single quotes, but the question mark is outside of the single quotes, which is not how you fucking write. Hang on. Elizabeth Rudnick.
Derelict of dark summoned from the ashes, but master congregates all the masses.
Where is she from?
Strings twisting minds as blades hit. With this power, then come try and take it.
Debut novelist, part-time waitress, full-time writer, pop culture aficionado. Oh God, she's got the fucking Karen face. Okay, I'm posting this in Critique of Stories. Her recent book is called Tweetheart.
Ah, no!
She also wrote the Pirates of the Caribbean Curse of the Black Pearl novel, Secrets of the East India Trading Company, Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End, and Special Edition Junior novel. Well, and she does not list this, but considering that she's worked for Hyperion and Disney, yeah, Disney Hyperion, yeah. So yeah, this is definitely the same person, I'd say. Oh, she also wrote the Beauty and the Beast novelization, and from the live-action piece of shit movie, the Maleficent novelization, the Frozen novelization.
Why does she get any work? How?
The Cinderella, Aladdin, Christopher Robin, Oz the Great and Powerful, Lion King novelization. And I don't go away. She wrote the
Sweetheart, what the fuck?
Novelization. Yeah, this is definitely the same one. Oh my fucking God, she also wrote the Thor novelization. Oh!
Coming home.
Just,
Oh God, I didn't know she wrote the Thor novel as well. I can fully expect that one to suck as much as this. That was it. Bucky had had enough. He was leaving for England tomorrow, and his best friend in the world wouldn't take the night off to have some fun with him, talk to some pretty girls, and maybe have a dance or two. It was the first time Bucky had ever voiced his fears about Steve fighting in the war. Steve was taken aback by his friend's honesty. "This isn't a back alley scrap, Steve," Bucky continued, his voice softening. "It's a war." "No," Steve corrected. "It's the war. The war we can't lose. This is the one that counts, and I mean to be counted." Steve took a step toward the tent, and Bucky put a hand on his arm. "Come on," he said. "It's my last night." His friend turned and gave him a wry smile. There was nothing Bucky could say or do that would convince Steve to leave that pavilion. Holding out his hand, he and Steve shook. It was time to say goodbye.
see, the only decent bits are the parts where they take from the movie.
And they didn't take enough from the movie.
No.
Yeah.
You would think a novelization of the movie would include the movie just told from a, I don't know, different point of view. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
Bucky
done
watched
bearing.
his friend go, his heart heavy. He hoped for Steve's sake that he would get what he wanted. He just wasn't convinced that when Steve got it, it would make him happy. Okay. Notice anything missing from that sequence?
Yeah, good writer.
No, there's a very specific line.
Huh.
I'm trying to remember. It's been so long since I saw the first Captain America movie.
What's missing? SpavVy?
Hmm?
What's missing from this sequence, SpavVy?
I don't know what.
There's a specific line that's missing from this sequence. It's a very important line. It gets referenced later on.
Oh, shit.
Shit.
We all haven't seen the Captain America movie in like forever.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute.
Winter Soldier.
It was referenced in Endgame.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
3, 2,
Don't be.
1.
It's the line where Steve, where
Yeah,
Buck
don't
is
do
like,
anything stupid. How could I? You're taking all the stupid with you.
Yeah, that one.
Oh.
Yes,
God
yes, I
damn it.
remember.
How did I forget that one?
Okay, I remember now.
In other news, here's something we don't see often: snowmen crawling in the streets.
Okay. Oh my god, it does look like a snowman MMA fight.
The music. Oh my god.
Next to a combo KFC Taco Bell.
Oh my god. Okay.
Oh, I had to go do something.
I was done burying the light, and then suddenly this happened.
Wait, I was out of the room. What I mean?
Go into internet bullshit. Just look at that. Just look at that.
I'm not ready.
Yes, you are. I don't care if you're not ready. Let's do it anyway.
Here's something else, y'all. What the fuck?
It's still more funny what Alex is reading right now. It's true. You know it. I know it. And I'm sorry if my singing ruined Buried the Light. Because I love that song.
Same.
Have you not heard Bury the Light?
Yes, I've heard it. I listen to it all the time now.
So we are the storm that is approaching and provoking black clouds in isolation.
Yes.
Virgil will provoke the Clyfoth by blaring his speakers so loud. Virgil's like, I swear I did not. Dante is like, Virgil, what did you do? And Virgil's like, okay, but you can't be mad at me. I didn't mean to do it. Give me the remote. If you want it, then you'll have to take it. But you already knew that, didn't you? I was afraid you'd say that. The day when I get to streaming Devil May Cry 5, that'll be fun.
Anyways, there was a part of Steve that knew he was being ridiculous. How many more times could he fail? And it was Bucky's last night. Yes, we gathered that. But if there was even the slimmest chance that his luck could change, then he had to take it. Walking inside the recruitment center, his eyes quickly adjusted to the dark. It was bright in the movie. What the fuck? Where outside it was all bright lights and noisy crowds, inside it was quiet and somber. It was dark outside in the movie. What the fuck? Out of the corner of his eye, Steve saw an older man. He looked tired, as though being there took all of his energy. Yeah, I can sympathize with Erskine at this point. The man made his way slowly over to Steve. So, you want to be a fighter, huh? He asked in a German accent. Steve was momentarily taken aback. He hadn't expected a German national to be inside a U.S. Army recruitment center. You're with the Army? He asked hesitantly. Dr. Abraham Erskine, the man said. Special Scientific Reserve, U.S. Army. Steve had never heard of the Special Scientific Reserve, but figured there were a lot of things he hadn't heard of. Shrugging, he gave Erskine his name and looked on as the man found his file. Steve tried not to grimace when he once again saw the red X's marking each and every one of his ailments and weaknesses. Erskine finished reviewing the file and then looked up. 5 exams in 5 tries in 5 different cities, he said. All failed. You are very tenacious, yes? How did he know that, Steve wondered. He thought that by going to different cities he would have stayed under the radar and that the Army wouldn't see how desperate he was to enlist. Yeah, see, they probably cross-referenced things, you know?
Yeah.
It's not that difficult even back then. It also, you went as in like a tri-state area, within driving distance. Huh. Anyways, wouldn't see how desperate he was to enlist. Maybe this special scientific reserve, whatever it was, had more intel than the other branches of the army. Maybe they just cared. Ever thought about that? Outside, a pair of men wandered by and turned when they heard Erskine's European accent. They took a step forward as if to do something when Steve held up a warning hand. Figuring it wasn't worth it, they moved on. That wasn't in the movie. What the fuck was that? That also doesn't serve any purpose whatsoever. What the fuck is this about?
Indeed.
I'm sure it looks like these writers sort of just use these novelization as tools for fan fiction.
Yep.
No, see, here's the problem. This isn't even that. If this was fan fiction, it would at least be, like, a little bit interesting.
True. Or someone who doesn't know what the hell these characters are. That's the other option.
Who the hell
A fella
are you?
has to stand up, Steve said, turning back to Erskine. I don't like bullies, Doc. I don't care where they're from. You just skipped over all of the important things that happened in Erskine's conversation with Steve. And skipped right to the end. The old man nodded thoughtfully. So you would fight, yes, he said, but you are weak. And you are very small.
Like spaghetti.
Yeah, Steve was about to protest when Dr. Erskine did something unexpected. He laid out Steve's file on the table and picked up a stamp. Steve's heart began to beat faster. I can offer you a chance, Dr. Erskine said. Only a chance. Then as Steve watched with growing excitement, the man pressed the stamp down on the file. Holding up the file, Steve saw a big 1A. He couldn't believe it. After all this time, he was actually in the army. His luck had changed, just as he told Bucky it would. As Erskine began talking about the next steps, Steve tried to pay attention, but his mind was spinning. And we're back to faded pages again. He had no idea what kind of group the SSR was or why they would be okay with someone like him. Should he be worried? Was Bucky right when he said the biggest danger would come if someone did let him join? What if this was all some sort of joke? Maybe when he got outside, he'd see Bucky laughing, having pulled a fast one on his old friend. Shaking off those thoughts, Steve focused on Erskine. Whatever the SSR was, and whatever the reason they had for taking him, Steve didn't care. He was in. Soon he would be a real soldier, and maybe someday he'd even be an American hero. End of chapter 2. Thoughts so far?
It's stupid.
It's
so fucking stupid.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think I said to you, Kevin, this book, is the book equivalent of the movie adaptation of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire or Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Because it just skips things that, quite frankly, are very fucking important to the plot.
Oh, when I think of the Goblet of Fire, I think of how the one scene was changed. Instead of Dumbledore spoke calmly to Harry, and there's "Did you put the name of the Goblet of Fire?"
Yeah, that's not massively out of character for Dumbledore at all.
You know what happens when you mix a red and blue lightsaber together?
You get a purple one.
You get purple rain.
Purple rain. Yeah. SpavVy, thoughts?
Oh, this thing is just stupid. She can't write.
Would you believe it gets worse?
I would believe that.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, I would. Nothing really surprises me anymore. Because I've just, read so much bad shit with you guys already. So.
Hang on, let me scroll down and see how much I paid for this. I paid $2.46 for this book. I overpaid.
Oh, that cheap, huh?
I think I overpaid.
I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't even want that for free.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you got it for
I
free,
have
you're
gotten
like,
better books for less money. Steve Rogers wasn't the only one chosen by the SSR. I'm just going to call them the SSR because it takes less time. A few days later, he found himself standing in a line at Camp Leahy in the practice field with 11 other recruits. They were all healthy and tall and strong. Typically, you're supposed to put a comma in between things when you're listing things out, but what the fuck ever. And next to them, Steve felt even smaller than he usually did, but that didn't stop him from signing the last will and testament document without a moment's hesitation. While the other recruits were all nervous about signing their lives away, Steve was willing to give all that he could to the U.S. Army, even if it meant his own life. What the fuck does a will have to do with this? With your training? Like, Steve doesn't...
I don't know.
I'm currently seeing a TikTok video of a group of trash pandas inside of a dumpster.
Can you get me a TikTok video of like a dumpster burning? Because that's what this book is.
A dumpster burning.
I can get a gif of a dumpster fire.
Okay, go ahead and send that.
Dumpster fire gif.
I can just post it in internet bullshit.
No.
Factually.
No. Hold on.
Factually, there's so much wrong with this.
I got it. Here you go, Alex. In Critique of Stories.
Oh, that is a
Look at
beautiful... That is a beautiful...
Oh, I'll take a look.
That was the one I was about to post.
I found it first.
Hang on. I'm going to change the image on the stream to this.
Oh no, that's going to make it worse. You son of a gun, don't do it. Don't do it, you absolute legend, you.
Steve and the rest of the recruits filed into a large room, where Steve spied a man and woman, watching and waiting. The man scowled at Steve, who was relieved to see Dr. Erskine off to one side, observing the recruits.
Wow.
And Kevin just posted a gif of a burning truck.
Oh, that was me.
The other man... Sorry. God, I'm so fucking
dumpster
tired,
truck.
buddy. I'm tired, guys.
A dumpster truck. It's okay, we all are.
I'm gonna wind up
Hello,
calling
tired.
SpavVy
My name's
hey
Kevin.
Dylan at
Nice
some
to
point.
meet you
Just
all.
you watch. The other man then introduced himself as Colonel Chester Phillips. He stood ramrod straight, multiple medals shining on his uniform. Deep lines were etched on his face, marking the combat missions that he had survived. Yet his eyes were still bright, clear, and serious as they surveyed the room. They were outside when this happened. Colonel Phillips addressed the men. The Strategic Scientific Reserve is an allied effort made up of the best minds of the free world. Well, he began. With that,
My
the colonel
name
then
is Tommy
introduced
Lee
Dr.
Jones.
Erskine and Agent Peggy Carter, who was on loan to the Army from British intelligence, and despite her obvious beauty, looked only slightly less intimidating than Colonel Phillips. When Agent Carter began to speak...
Only slightly.
No dialogue. Steve noticed that there was a lot of quiet chuckling and chattering going on. The recruits kept eyeing Peggy, taking in her long legs and pretty face. Walking over to a man by the name of Hodges, Peggy asked him if he knew judo. When he replied that he didn't, she executed a perfect judo move, grabbing his arm and twisting it back hard. He yelped and dropped.
Well, why did she do that?
That wasn't what the...
Didn't she punch him?
I'm going to pull up that scene because... Actually, I have the script right here.
Dude just has like the script ready. Like, this is what you did wrong.
Induction. Last will and testament. Yeah, they were signing the last will and testament as she was talking to them. Fuck.
Yeah, she punched him.
Yeah. She said, yeah, the punchline in that scene was, neither am I. Are you... Also, judo, jujitsu, they're different, also Japanese. They didn't quite make it out of Japan during the 40s. That was kind of a post-war thing. I should know! I practiced the art!
You know what,
Fucked with the wrong guy, Elizabeth.
You know what art I've practiced?
What?
The art of drawing in a happy little tree.
Thank you. Do you have anything else to say? She asked. When he shook his head no, Peggy let him go and walked back to the front of the room. After that, the recruits paid her their full attention. And it was a good thing they did because the training started right away. First up was the obstacle course. As he stood waiting for his team's turn, Steve tried to remember everything that he had read about obstacle courses. Typically, you avoid the obstacles, Steve. He knew that they were supposed to help a soldier learn how to handle combat situations while building a sense of team camaraderie. But looking out over the various objects of the course, and then taking in the men standing on either side of him, he doubted that would happen. The obstacles included a climbing wall, rope swings, a rappelling wall, a long piece of wood that looked like a balance beam but with a rough surface, large rubber tires, and even a deep mud puddle. Go fuck yourself, Captain Marvel. Steve Rogers got told he wasn't good enough for this shit, too.
Yeah?
And you know what? He was a man. And hell, Peggy fucking Carter was in this shit. And nobody doubted her after she beat that guy's ass.
Yeah, it's almost like they conveniently forget this stuff when it comes to pushing agendas.
Yeah.
That pisses me off.
There isn't anything wrong with making friends with trees, guys.
Yeah. Hey, man, some of my best friends are trees.
I am Groot.
Indeed. And I am Steve Rogers. Not really. The men already on the
Kevin
course...
Ridley.
I am Ray Palmer. Welcome to pain.
Raced through the obstacles, easily climbing over the wall and nimbly running across the balance beam. And looked as though they had been doing this sort of thing their whole lives. Where is the part where he's crawling under barbed wire? It looked as if they had been... Okay. Our goal is to create the finest army in history, Colonel Phillips said as they waited. Excuse me. But every army starts with one man. By the end of this week, we're going to choose that man. He's going to be the first of a new breed of super soldiers. Excuse me.
Wait, hold on 1 second. Didn't the Colonel show up after Peggy showed up?
Yes.
So, what the hell? And he even said, Agent Carter, I see you're already breaking in one of our new units.
Yep. They have
After she socked him right in the jaw.
They have rearranged all of the dialogue.
Why? It's a novelization. It's not...
Just watch the movie and write it. I don't know.
Or at the very least, read the script. Did you think about reading the fucking script, guys?
No.
Right.
It's like... I mean, the way this goes later on, it almost feels as if the author had the script described to her by somebody who vaguely remembered it.
Vaguely being...
Also, forgive my...
very polite turn.
Yeah. Also, forgive my terrible Tommy Lee Jones impression. Super soldiers, Steve repeated silently. Was there something going on that he didn't know about? But he didn't have time to think about it as a horn sounded, signaling his turn to go. He leaped at the wall, trying to push himself over. One of the other men's boots landed squarely on his head, pushing him back. By the time he made it over, he was way behind the others. He could see Phillips, Peggy, and Erskine, and just addressing Peggy by her first name randomly, despite that the fact that she would be Agent Carter to him at the moment. And actually, hang on. No, they actually did not have him learning her name at any point in time. Because they cut the part where Phillips said what her name was!
Of course.
Watching it increased his speed, but he knew that he'd already made a bad impression. He had to pick up his game. Erskine turned to Phillips, his mind made up. Rogers is a clear choice, he told the colonel. But Phillips couldn't disagree more. You put a needle in that guy's arm, it's going to come out the other side, the colonel said. Phillips continued to watch Steve, who was once again the last in line. Look at him, Phillips said to Erskine. He's making me cry. But the course continued, and so did Steve. He scrambled up a cargo net only to get tangled in it when Hodges walked over him. But he recovered and kept going. Missing another comma there.
Of course.
He crawled through the mud, covered by barbed wire, only to have Hodges kick out a support beam, causing the barbed wire to fall on Steve. Still, he kept going. Nevertheless, he persisted. His efforts didn't go unnoticed. Agent Carter and Dr. Erskine had seen Hodges try to sabotage Steve over and over again, and yet, each time Steve had gotten back up, more determined than ever. He didn't have the muscles of the other recruits, but he had something they didn't. Heart. He would fight as hard as he could, as long as he could, and never turn a back on a fellow soldier. His back on a fellow soldier. Do you not know how the saying goes? Is this person even human?
No, it's secretly...
Nope, I guess not.
It's secretly Paul W.S. Anderson in disguise.
Oh my god, that would explain the gratuitous nudity in the casting. Think of Mila Jovovich as Peggy Carter. Like, I was surprised to get... I was surprised that we had like pictures, hers completely uncensored, in a kid's book of based on a PG-13 movie. Hey, but that would explain so much.
Wait, is this real or are you just making this up?
This is a joke, Kevin.
Okay, good, because I wasn't sure. We've said so much crazy stuff that actually is a real thing, and at this point, I'm expecting
this is just a
frog to come out of nowhere.
This is just a joke that I was making about the fact that Paul W.S. Anderson loves to have his wife get naked in his movies.
Except for Afterlife, where she is not naked.
Yeah, we could have had a shower scene. We could have had that entire imagine that shower scene in 3D.
Oh God!
Imagine imagine the shower fight scene, of like Mila Jovovich naked in 3D. That would have been fucking hilarious.
Someone's going to make fan fiction of that, I swear.
Yeah. Those were the qualities Peggy and Erskine were looking for. Phillips, however, didn't feel the same way. He still saw Steve as a weak, ineffectual soldier in training. Phillips wanted Hodges for the job and wasted no time in voicing his opinion. He's big, he's fast, he takes orders. In short, he's a soldier. No, Erskine interrupted. He's a bully. Phillips immediately countered Erskine's argument. You don't win our wars with niceness, Doctor, you win them with guts. And to prove his point, Phillips picked up a grenade and hurled it into the middle of the course right near Steve.
Completely cutting out the fact that Steve ended up going through... cutting out the fact that Steve ended up getting the flag by using his wits, not sheer strength.
Also cutting out the fact that Phillips pulled the pin on the grenade. As Hodges and the other recruits panicked and fled, Steve ran in at the grenade. Everybody down, he shouted as Steve flung himself on top of the explosive device. There was a moment of silence as everyone waited for the inevitable. 1 second passed. 2 seconds. 3. Finally, Steve gingerly eased himself up and off the grenade. Looking over to where Phillips, Peggy, and Erskine stood, he cocked his head and asked, "Is this a test?" Peggy tried not to smile. It was a test of sorts, and not even Colonel Phillips could deny that Steve had passed. The SSR didn't need to look any further. Steve Rogers was going to be their first super soldier. Yeah, like you said, completely cutting out the fact that Steve figured out the fucking flag thing without using any brawn, you know? God. Fucking damn it. Comments so far?
It's cutting out way too much.
Exactly my thoughts.
Way too
Later
much
then,
needs
just
actual stuff and substance in there. There's barely any meat on these things. This is just
Yeah.
bare bone.
Yeah. How is it
I
both bare
can't-
bones and a? Yeah, how is it both bare bones and a slog to get through at the same
anything from fucking bone.
This book is 138 pages long.
138?
Yeah, it's bare bones, but at the same time, like, it's a slog to get through.
Yeah. Later that
like
night,
it said-
Steve's... Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, it says a whole lot of nothing. You know what I mean? It's literally a nothing burger adaptation.
Later that night, Steve sat inside the now empty barracks. The rest of the recruits had been sent home, and the empty beds made Steve feel oddly alone. But a part of him was excited about what the future held. Peggy and Dr. Erskine had given him more details once he was chosen. He was to be given a special serum that Erskine had created. With luck, it would turn him into a man with extraordinary powers. He'd be able to run faster, hit harder, and think quicker. All things that would be helpful on the battlefield. But there would also be risks undergoing such a procedure. Namely, would he survive the experiment? The sounds of footsteps echoed in the empty room, and Steve looked up. Erskine had entered the barracks and was walking toward him. As always, the doctor's expression was somber. "Can I ask you a question?" Steve said when the old... Asked! Said is not how that is phrased! When the older man took a seat on the bed across from him, Erskine nodded. "Why me?" The scientist smiled. He had been expecting this question. And Steve deserved to know the answer and the history behind the serum. 5 years ago, Erskine began. He was living in Germany, working as a scientist. His experiments were radical, and some felt they were foolish. But then he had invented a serum that had the possibility of giving a man almost superhuman abilities. I think it gives them actual superhuman abilities, but whatever. It promised great power to anyone who controlled it, and as the war was beginning, the potential for whoever had it to be victorious. Erskine was eager to keep it out of the hands of the wrong man, but then a man named Johann Schmidt found out about his discovery. First mention of the primary villain of our book here, ladies and gentlemen, and we are 27 pages in.
Wow. This is bad.
Schmidt, Erskine explained, was himself a brilliant scientist and also the leader of an organization called Hydra. At the time that Erskine worked with him, Schmidt was fascinated with occult powers and Teutonic myths. But Schmidt longed for his own glory no matter what the cost. Schmidt believed that the worlds existed in which men had the strength of gods and could control weather and the elements. He became obsessed with the idea that a great power had been hidden on Earth by the gods and was waiting to be seized by a superior man. Schmidt and Hydra vowed to find that power. Steve raised an eyebrow, and Erskine nodded as if to say, "Yes, insane, I know." Sure. Then he continued. Schmidt believed that Erskine's serum was the key to that power, and he wanted it. Despite Erskine's attempt to stop him, Schmidt got his hands on the serum and, in an act of desperation, injected himself. The results were horrific, and the experiment was a failure. Erskine had no choice. He fled his country and made his way to the United States in hopes of keeping the serum out of Schmidt's hands. But he knew that the Hydra leader would never stop looking for him or the serum. The failed experiment had corrupted Schmidt, and in his eyes it had turned the scientist into a monster. "That is why you were chosen," Erskine said to Steve, who had been listening intently. "A strong man, he may lose respect for power if he had it all his life. But a weak man knows the value of strength and compassion." The scientist sighed deeply. He saw the doubt in Steve's eyes and couldn't blame him. It was a rather unbelievable story, but it was an important one. For Erskine had learned a valuable lesson. "The serum amplifies what is inside," he finished. "Good becomes great, bad becomes worse." Erskine looked Steve straight in the eyes. Whatever happens tomorrow," he said, "promise me you'll stay who you are. Not a perfect soldier, but a good man." Steve nodded in silence. Tomorrow was going to be an interesting day. He just hoped that Erskine and Peggy were right about him. He didn't want to think about what would happen if they were wrong. Thoughts? End chapter. Thoughts so far?
It took them this long to mention the villain.
Well, it doesn't help that they cut out his introduction, where he actually shows why he's the villain. Also, note how in that introduction, they also cut out the fucking Tesseract.
Oh,
Yeah.
Just wow.
I'm back. Recap me on what I missed.
We got 20-something pages in, and they just now introduced the main villain.
That's stupid.
Yep.
20 pages. And only now do they decide, oh, let's do the scenes in proper sequence. Like, kind of for that.
Anything else before we move on to chapter 4?
Nope. Just watch.
Yes, kill me, please.
In a dumpster.
The next day, Peggy picked up Steve early in the morning and took him away from Camp Leahy. They soon found themselves driving through the streets of Brooklyn, New York. For the first time since the night of the exhibition, his thoughts drift to Bucky and their misspent youth in the mean streets of Brooklyn. Sorry. The means streets of Brooklyn. And the means streets of Brooklyn.
Oh,
No!
no! This feels like a mistake I'd make in early fanfiction writing.
The mean streets. No!
Oh, no.
What the fuck? I know this neighborhood, Steve said proudly to Peggy. I got beat up in that alley. And over there. And there. Peggy looked at him quizzically. Did you have something against running away? She asked. You start running, Steve began, and they'll never let you stop. You stand up, you push back. They can only tell you no for so long, right? Peggy smiled to herself, more confident than ever that the SSR had made the right choice in picking Steve Rogers, and they just shift perspective randomly throughout the book.
Yeah.
The car came to a stop,
Bad.
jolting Steve. Looking around, he saw that they had parked in front of an antique store. Why did he stop here, he asked, confused. I love a bargain, she answered simply, opening the car door and getting out. Steve laughed. Peggy was full of surprises, and he felt a weird flutter in his chest. He hated to admit it, but he was starting to like Peggy.
The antique store woman pulled out a shotgun.
I got a shotgun. With my sawn-off shotgun and on the pump.
Okay, I want to do a drawing where it's like pre Super Soldier Serum Steve and like Agent Carter's going ara with small skinny Steve.
Wait, going ora?
No, ara, you know, the MILF thing, you know.
Oh, okay.
Not or the ara.
All right.
I'm sure everyone else here knows what I'm talking about.
Anyways, getting out of the car, he followed her inside. An old woman stood behind the counter, surrounded by various knickknacks and dusty antiques. With one hand on a machine gun, the woman nodded at Peggy, then pressed a hidden button, allowing Peggy and Steve to enter.
I swear I was kidding.
Completely cutting out the dialogue exchange and also shifting perspective yet again. At a door in the back of the store, Peggy stopped and turned to make sure Steve was behind her. Then she opened the door, revealing a secret staircase.
And when I said she'd have a shotgun.
And a machine gun, but yes.
I know.
They made their way down and walked through another door right into the Special Scientific Reserve Rebirth Lab. Steve's eyes grew wide as he took in the giant space. Far longer than the store above, it was illuminated by bright lights and bustling with activity. In the center of the ultra-modern area, technicians operated different kinds of machinery, consulting with one another as they pulled levers and flipped switches. A group of engineers manned a row of monitors that beeped with information, while in another part of the lab, a film crew was setting up their equipment. Looking up, Steve noticed an observation booth. Several serious-looking men stood inside talking. Peggy quickly informed him that the man with the salt and pepper hair was Senator Brandt. He had helped the SSR get funding for the Serum project, codenamed Project Rebirth, and was here to see if his money had been well spent. As Steve walked further into the lab, everyone turned to stare at him. He smiled self-consciously when he realized that he might be in over his head. Instinctively, he made his way to Dr. Erskine, who stood next to a large cradle-like device that was shaped like a man. This, Erskine informed him, was the Rebirth device. It was in this cradle that Steve would be given the serum. With a deep breath, Steve got inside. It was now or never. Comfortable?
Okay, these are people who would defend and the writing of this. Just, it's 25 seconds. It's basically this, but set to the Endless Staircase theme from Mario 64.
Dr. Erskine asked. At Steve's nod, Erskine smiled. Then, turning to the attendants standing at the ready, he gave them the signal. They began to hook up Steve to various wires, tubes, and monitors. These would help Erskine and observe Steve's reactions as the experiment proceeded. "How are your levels, Mr. Stark?" Erskine asked, turning to someone Steve hadn't noticed before. The man turned and Steve raised an eyebrow. It was Howard Stark, the inventor he had seen at the World Exhibition of Tomorrow. Stark wasn't a military man, so he must be on loan to the SSR, Steve thought. "Goils are at peak," Stark replied to Erskine. "Levels are 100%. We're ready." Then he paused before adding, "As we'll ever be." Erskine didn't seem him as concerned. Picking up a microphone that would carry his words into the observation booth, he began to speak. "Today we take the first step on the path to peace," he said. Behind him, more attendants fiddled with the machines hooked up to Steve. A heart monitor began to beep in time with Steve's racing heart. "The serum will cause immediate cellular change," Erskine went on. "In order to prevent an uncontrolled growth, the subject will then be saturated with Vita rays. Uncontrolled growth, saturated with rays. The heart monitor began beeping faster as Steve listened, so his cradle was going to turn into a chamber, and he'd be shot full of rays. I'm not going to make any jokes about that. If Bucky were here right now, Steve thought he'd tell me, "I told you so." Turning off the microphone, Erskine nodded to a nurse. She opened up a case, revealing an aluminum syringe. She tapped it a few times, pulling back the plunger, and injected Steve in the arm. Pulling back the plunger before... What? So she injected him with a thing full of air? You have to put the needle into a bottle first and withdraw.
Yeah, last time I checked, putting air into your veins kills you.
It's not good, no.
Yeah.
You know, once upon a time, someone tried watching a video regarding the Earthbound Immortals from Yu-Gi-Oh! And they died. But then it turned out that video was this live stream.
Oh. That wasn't so bad, Steve said when she was done. "That was penicillin," Erskine said.
They at least kept that joke in.
Smile on his face. Yeah, they kept that. They didn't keep anything else. They didn't keep stuff that would actually have been critical to the plot, though. As Steve looked on, a panel slid back, revealing a carousel of blue vials. There were 7 tubes of serum in total. Erskine and the nurse began inserting the vials one by one into the injectors set up around Steve. When they had inserted 6 of the 7, Erskine had another technician move closer. He was in charge of the injector pad, small round objects covered with hundreds of tiny needle tips. They were lightly placed all over the outside of Steve's body. When they were pressed down onto his skin, the serum would flow through the injectors into the pads and then into Steve. Steve was about to say something along the lines of "Hold on, maybe we should wait a minute." No, he fucking wasn't, Elizabeth, when he was pressed back into the cradle. Then Erskine began the countdown. Excuse me. Beginning serum infusion in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. He pressed a switch, and Steve jerked as the pads pressed down on him. The blue fluid flowed from the injectors. Instantly, Steve's veins began to swell and his head began to shake as the fluid washed through him. Erskine hit another button, and padded restraints closed around Steve's head. Shouldn't you have hit that button first? Calming the shaking.
Yeah, right.
But it didn't stop his eyes from turning blue. His eyes were already blue.
What, did they turn like extra blue?
I guess, this doesn't make any sense. And the look on Erskine's face, though, it seemed as if this was supposed to happen. When the 6 vials are finally empty, Erskine turned to the military. Erskine turned to the millionaire inventor. "No, Mrs. Stark." Stark pulled a lever, and the cradle began to tilt. When it was finished moving, Steve was straight up, and the cradle looked like a rocket ready to launch. Then a panel slid across the cradle, sealing Steve inside. Through a small window, everyone could see Steve's face, his eyes still glowing blue. Glowing? Okay, why didn't you say that they were glowing blue earlier? Also, hang on. I hate to break this, but...
You know,
I'm looking at this scene right now, and, no, Steve's eyes did not change color. They just... the pupils just narrowed.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck book?
What the fuck book?
Indeed.
What the fuck book? I think there's a Facebook parody called Fuck Book.
Yeah. Eyes still glowing. Blah, blah, blah.
Does he turn into the Hulk?
With the panels closed, the cradle was now ready to be flooded with the Vita rays that would hopefully keep Steve safe. The Vita ray machine came courtesy of Howard Stark, no shit, who gave Steve a reassuring nod before moving the control device. To the control device. A piercing whine filled the air as Stark turned a power dial. On a big gauge, a needle began to climb, indicating the level of rays flooding the chamber. It hit 10, then 20. Steve's face began to tense. At 40, his eyes squeezed shut. Then the needle reached 60, and the heart monitor began to beep wildly. The rays were affecting Steve badly. Stark turned to Erskine, ready to shut the machine off, but the scientist shook his head. They had to keep going. The needle reached 80, and a strange orange glow filled the chamber. Steve's face could no longer be seen through the window. Inside, Steve was completely unaware of what was going on as the rays battered his body. Yes, so what we've got here is we're going to have the world's greatest soldier, but he's going to be blind because you didn't give him any fucking goggles. Inside, Steve was completely unaware of what was going on as the rays battered his body. Outside, Erskine's own heart pounded. He knew that he was putting Steve in great danger, but he had to. When the needle hit 90, Steve let out a piercing scream. Up in the booth, Brent and his aides took a step back when they heard it. On the lab floor, Erskine watched as the orange light grew even brighter. It was too much. "Kill the reactors," he ordered. Stark was about to turn the dial down when over the microphone Steve's voice came, faint but determined. "No," he said. "I can do this." "No,"
Something
he said.
that most people would
I can
say
do
from
this.
porta potties. Something that
Erskine swallowed. They had chosen Steve because he had heart and he seemed determined to see this through. The doctor hesitated, and then finally nodded at Stark. The other man gave the dial a final turn. 100. A sharp whine split the air, and the chamber flashed from orange to white. Then everything went dark. Silence filled the lab. The heart monitor stopped beeping, and no sound came from inside the chamber. Up in the booth, Brent looked down at Erskine, his expression a mixture of disappointment and anger. Everyone in the room held their breath in anticipation. Then suddenly, the heart monitor came to life. Beep, beep, beep. Anxious, Erskine took a step forward. Had it worked? Was it possible? There was only one way to tell. Stark opened the chamber. Scientists peered through the smoke and machinery as the chamber cleared of the last of the rays. And then Erskine smiled. Steve was still strapped in the chamber, but it wasn't the same Steve who had gone in. No longer was he thin and frail. Instead, he was now a model of human perfection, standing a foot taller than before with muscles rippling all over his new body. Project Rebirth had worked. Hang on, I gotta break again, and I have to look up how big Steve was. This is when he went in versus when he came out.
Big Steve-O. You know I'm just being cheeky, right?
What?
You know I'm just being cheeky, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so...
Hello?
Let's see here. So Steve pre-Serum is allegedly 5'3", and so yes, he did actually gain a foot in height. I thought he was like 4 foot something, but yeah.
Perfect. 5'3". That's just below average height.
You did it, Doctor, Stark shouted as he unstrapped Steve and was momentarily weakened from the ordeal. You really did it. As Stark helped him Steve over to a chair, everyone rushed in, eager to see the results and congratulate each another.
Isn't it each other?
Oh.
Hang on.
Oh my god.
Did she have a stroke while writing that? Just
I don't know, but I'm about to have a stroke.
I had a stroke. Each another. Congratulate each another.
Each other. What is wrong with these people?
I'm sure you guys see my reaction. What the fuck?
Do we have the same chair?
It's holy shit, we do. I think mine is more brown.
Yeah, but it's the same type of chair, I think.
Yes, it is.
I'm just laying on my bed.
Just what the fuck is wrong with this book?
That's a damn good question. I don't have an answer for it. Anyways.
Yeah, we do have the same chair. Holy shit.
Congratulate each another. In the middle of the excitement, Steve sat up, taking everything in. He felt different. He couldn't tell what he looked like. But from the reactions of those around him, he figured it was good. And from the reaction of Peggy, he figured it was very good. How do you feel?
Considering
she
asked.
Touched
his pack.
They didn't... I mean, to be fair, that wasn't in the script, so there's no reason for it to be...
Yeah, that was ad-libbed by Haley Atwell.
Yeah, so there's no reason for that to be in the book, so yeah.
To be fair.
Taller, he said, looking down at her as he smiled.
Harder,
down at her
better,
as he smiled.
faster, and stronger. Daft Punk would be proud.
Peggy smiled back. At least his spirits hadn't changed. And then everything started to go downhill, fast. While they were talking, one of the men who had been in the observation booth made his way down into the lab. He wore glasses and went by the name Fred Clemson. Ignoring Dr. Erskine and the others, he made his way to the chamber and the last remaining vial of serum. Glancing quickly around to make sure no one was looking, he pulled out a lighter. With a flick of his thumb, he opened it, revealing a button instead of the usual wick.
Look at the flick of the wrist. Look at the flick of the wrist. Whoop.
Erskine heard the sound through the chatter in the lab and turned. He knew that sound. His eyes grew wide. He also knew that person. His name wasn't Fred Clemson. His name was Kruger, and he was a Hydra agent.
Freddy Krueger?
Erskine saw Kruger at the same time. The other man saw him, an evil smile. And An evil smile spread across Kruger's face, and his thumb pressed down on the lighter. Then he threw it. "No!" Erskine shouted. But it was too late. The room exploded. End chapter 4, thoughts so far.
Looking critique of stories isn't look what I imagined, and when I heard the name Kruger.
Well, I mean, I think that's what we all think.
Yeah.
This is God.
You look at him and tell me there's a God.
Then suddenly Raiden, and dressed as Christopher Lambert, comes to beat him up. To be fair, Freddy Krueger was in Mortal Kombat 11.
Oh.
Rather as the Jack Earl Haley version, not the Robert Englund one. Don't ask. I don't like that show. That show is cancer.
I think it got better after the first season.
No.
Honestly.
No.
Gumball? Hell yeah, Gumball was fucking great.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't like the first season so much, but I think the later seasons.
I don't usually give shows another chance after the first season if the first season's...
Oh, no, dude. I promise you. Like...
I gave up on Adventure Time after the first season. I sure as hell am not doing this one.
Okay, Gumball. Okay, yeah. It's kind of tragic because it legitimately is better after the first season. Like, first season is rough, and it's not a good entryway into...
You know, there was once a time in Adventure Time when Finn was kidnapped by a group of shirtless gnomes and forced to pole dance in front of them.
I actually...
Yes, Rebecca Sugar approved of that episode, its existence.
I thought it was Pendleton Ward.
And which is all the more reason why I'm not surprised she drew Ed, and Eddie porn. So...
Yeah.
That, and she approved of an episode of Powerpuff Girls where the girls were twerking.
Hang on, where the fuck... I accidentally closed out the stream window. Where the hell do I get this back?
I could send you a link to it.
No, I mean the control panel. Where's my control panel, guys? Okay, here's my control pan. I don't want to go live. I just want to be able to get my control panel. I want my control panel, goddammit. I don't need to make a new stream. Sure, I'll schedule it for a later date.
I don't have your stone. Fuck you anyway. Tell me if anybody gets that reference. I know Alex does, but I want to know if anyone else got it.
I didn't get it.
It's from the attempt at a reboot of Alone in the Dark.
Yeah.
Oh.
The weird ass reboot sequel thing they did.
Yeah, that Pro Jared reviewed a while ago.
Yep. Everything was going according to Hydra's plan. Kruger had infiltrated the Special Scientific Reserve's headquarters, just as he'd been instructed, and he had destroyed their lab, just as he'd been told.
Then everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked.
Now he needed to get his hands on the last remaining vial of serum and make his escape. I thought he already did that. Through the smoke, Kruger saw Erskine, who was still seen as a traitor by the Hydra organization. Pulling out his pistol, Kruger aimed and fired. Erskine went down. Grabbing the vial, Kruger headed for the door.
Could you imagine the movie was written like how this is?
I know.
This is why I'm probably gonna go back and watch that movie and pretend this never happened.
It would have killed the MCU if the movie was like this. It was like randomly repeating shit, omitting entire sections. Jesus Christ.
This feels like the 90s Captain America movie.
Yeah, Erskine went down, grabbing the vial. Kruger headed for the door. Hearing the shot, Steve looked up. He was still shaky from the experiment and the explosion, and his limbs felt out of sync with the rest of his body. And when Steve saw Erskine fall, he jumped to his feet and raced over to his friend. But it was too late. Erskine was mortally wounded. He managed to whisper the name Kruger, and then his eyes closed.
Freddy Krueger.
1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. I'm sorry, I had to hit myself on the head with the spine of the book because that was fucking bullshit. He missed the... Erskine's last words are gone.
Of course.
The ones that meant so much in the movie. And it's just gone.
Sorry.
For a moment, Steve didn't know what to do. Erskine was dead. The lab was in shambles, and a spy was racing off the last vial of the serum. How had everything gone from so good to so terribly bad in such a short amount of time? Shaking his head, Steve saw Kruger heading for the door. Kruger turned his gun on the old woman. She was reaching for a machine gun, but the Hydra agent was faster. Steve wouldn't know the guy was a Hydra agent. He made his way out of the antique shop. But Steve wasn't going to just let him get away. Sorry. Jumping to his feet, he took off after the agent. When Steve burst out onto the street, he was just in time to see Kruger pulling the driver out of a taxicab. Steve is now running down the street shirtless because they cut out the sequence where Steve put a shirt on. He threw the poor man to the ground and jumped into the cab. Peggy, who had chased after Kruger, pulled out a gun and opened fire. Kruger returned fire, hitting a car behind Peggy, causing it to explode into flames. Then, with a squeal of tires. He didn't ride away on tigers. That was
Watch,
my
you're
fault.
probably gonna outright mention the fact he's like wearing a shirt, and yet they never established he put one on.
Yeah. Kruger peeled out and raced away. Peggy thought the Hydra spy would get away until she saw Steve. Steve Rogers was now very fast, super fast, all one word. He charged after Kruger, running as quickly as his new legs could carry him. Kruger drove down an alley. He then turned and kept going, with Steve just a few feet behind. With a huge roar, Steve launched himself at the taxi. Steve, I don't think he did in the movie, but whatever. Landing with a thud on the roof. Behind the glass, Kruger's eyes narrowed and he raised his arm. He still held his pistol. With a smile, he fired, shattering the cab's window. Steve ducked to the side. His grip loosened on the hood, and he fell, clinging with all his might to the cab. What? I'm confused as to what is happening here, and I've already read this book once.
Yeah.
You're like, as if I didn't have more to be confused about.
Yeah. The buildings rushed by as Kruger drove on, heading toward the Brooklyn Piers. Suddenly, up in front, Kruger saw a truck roaring toward him. He jerked the wheel, but it was too late. The truck sideswiped the cab, sending it and Steve into a roll. The world spun upside down as the cab flipped over and over again, finally coming to a stop, its hood smoking. Wouldn't Steve have been crushed under that?
Yeah.
Because he was
probably
on the hood of the vehicle. I don't think that wasn't how the scene went in the movie, if I remember correctly.
I think that sentence goes for literally this entire book.
Oh, I don't think this happened in the movie.
Yeah, trust me, that becomes more and more apt as the book goes on.
Yeah.
As Steve struggled to his feet, Kruger stumbled out of the wreckage, gun firing. Steve ducked, but the bullets were flying too fast. Thinking quickly, he grabbed a cab door that had been knocked loose and held it up in front of him like a shield. The bullets bounced off the metal, ricocheting harmlessly. Kruger kept firing. Their high-speed ride had taken them right down to the piers, which, on the sunny day, were filled with civilians catching the sights and enjoying the afternoon. Seeing the commotion, some of them began snapping pictures of the gunfight, mistaking it for entertainment. Cameras weren't really that common back then for them to be snapping pictures.
No. Oh,
This isn't the 90s. This isn't the 80s. And even then,
if you're like the
that's
90s
not
or
how
the
this would
80s,
work.
like, yeah, not really, no.
Like, we have exactly one video of the first plane hitting the first tower in 9/11. It's not just
even
like
that,
where
like,
100 people would be casually taking photos as they walk down the street, you know? God.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, then Kruger turned, shoving pedestrians aside as he ran. Seeing a young boy among the gathering crowd, Kruger grabbed him and pulled him to his chest, holding a gun to his head. Steve slowed down as Kruger began moving backward toward the water. When he was close enough to jump, Kruger threw the boy in the water and pulled out a small device. He clicked a button and a one-man submarine floated to the surface a few feet away. Kruger gave Steve an evil smile and then scrambled into the Hydra sub. Steve looked down at the water. He couldn't let Kruger get away, but he also couldn't let the little boy drown. Go get him, the boy shouted, interrupting Steve's thoughts. I can swim. Great, Steve muttered to himself. More to himself than the kid. I can't. I don't think that was in the movie, but...
Nope.
No.
Steve swam like an absolute unit and stopped the sub.
It's like, why would you even think to... This is like the Harry Potter movies or the Hunger Games movies, where it's like you made a bunch of changes that, one, you didn't have to make, and two, took a lot of effort to make. You could have just left it the same. And it would have been a hell of a lot better. But he had no choice. The boy was okay, and Kruger had to be stopped. No shit. Taking a deep breath, Steve ran to the edge of the pier and jumped. See, we could have cut out the first two sentences of this paragraph and the entire previous paragraph. Steve ran to the edge of the pier and jumped, landing in the chilly water. The cold knocked the air out of Steve's lungs, and for a moment he wondered if he was going to drown in spite of his newfound superpowers. But then his legs began to kick of their own accord, and before he knew it, missing comma, he was slicing through the water with long, powerful strokes. In no time, he had caught up to the sub. You don't just learn to swim because you got superpowers, right?
Right.
It's almost like they have this writer because she's a woman.
Whammon.
Oh, this is... Like, that is going to become probably more apparent later on. Kevin knows what passage I'm talking about. Don't tell them what it is.
Oh. How much later are we talking?
Not too much later. In no time, he had caught up to the sub. Reaching out, he grabbed its tail fin. Pulling himself forward, hand over hand, he made it to the cockpit. Through the glass, he saw Kruger's eyes widen at the sight of him. Then Steve pulled back his fist and punched the glass over and over again. With a mighty crack, it broke, allowing water to rush inside. Reaching into the cockpit, Steve grabbed Kruger and yanked him free of the now sinking sub. Then, with another mighty kick, he headed towards the surface. Back on dry land, he threw Kruger to the ground, but the Hydra soldier wouldn't give up. He pulled out a knife and tried to stab the American. Steve effortlessly kicked the knife aside. As he lunged at Kruger, the vial of blue serum dropped out of Kruger's hand and into the water below. "Who are you?" Steve yelled. The first of many, he said cryptically. Then, so Steve said that. Steve said that. Steve said that based on how this was worded. Then Kruger pressed his tongue against a false tooth, triggering a cyanide pill. Cut off one head and 2 more shall take its place. His body began to shake and his mouth started to foam. Right before Kruger died, he said, "Hail Hydra." No, he cracked a fucking tooth. He cracked a false tooth and then bit down on the pill.
Wow.
Jesus. Ooh.
Just why?
Indeed.
Right before Kruger died, he said, "Hail Hydra." Steve sat there for a long time after Kruger died, his mind racing. What sort of organization would send someone like Kruger to kill Erskine and harm innocent people? The Nazis, Steve.
The Nazis.
The fucking Nazis!
Und wie?
The Nazis?
Have war!
Nazis? Und wie will have war? Und
Sieg
wie?
Heil!
Und
Sieg
wie?
Heil!
Und wie? Achtung!
Gesundheit!
Gesundheit, Gesundheit. I fucking love Helsing Ultimate abridged.
Oh, I do too.
The fucking Nazis, Steve. That's who would do that. And now that they had failed to get their hands on the serum, would they also come after Steve? A few seconds later, Peggy arrived with an additional SSR men. Steve looked to Peggy for advice, but her words brought no solace. All of Dr. Erskine's research and equipment is gone. Any hope of reproducing the project is locked away in your genetic code. She put her hand on Steve's shoulder. At the moment, you're the only super soldier there is. That would have been true whether or not he was killed and all of his work destroyed or not. So, end chapter 5. Thoughts?
Yeah.
Stupid. Like the rest of it.
It takes us to get to chapter 5 to just this whole story it's a chore to. I can imagine it's a chore just to read through.
My throat is starting to hurt, and I don't even know why. Like normally I can talk, I can read aloud for hours, but I think I'm just like this fucking book is causing like stress. More stress, because I can do the fucking Broly voice for hours and it not hurt my throat as much as reading this fucking book.
It is bad. It is really bad.
Yep.
The Nazis, that's who.
Got it. Fucking scene where he's like, where Alucard's like, where he confirms that it was Nazis.
Like the Nazis.
That's what Rita taught.
Steve, whoever did this must have been in part of some large organization and hell-bent on destroying America. Like the Nazis? Don't be ridiculous.
Like the Nazis.
Like the Nazis. You know the Nazis we're currently at war with? Steve, why are you such a fucking dumbass sometimes?
Nazis, cyanide pill, come on.
Right. Yeah.
Chapter 6. Back at SSR headquarters, Colonel Phillips and Senator Brent were in the middle of a heated discussion. Phillips paced back and forth, his expression furious. They'd been attacked on their own soil by an enemy spy who had managed to sneak in with the senator's entourage. It was a disgrace. And now, on top of it, Erskine was dead, and with him, any hope of creating more super soldiers. We've already gathered that. If Hydra had gotten their hands on that one vial, Philip shivered at the thought. The SSR only had one option. Go after Hydra before they came back after them. They're already the enemy that you are fighting this war against! You're at war!
War!
Like, are
And
they
war.
seriously not able to
War
figure out,
never
like,
changes. Ah.
Like, are they seriously, like, not able to figure out who this enemy is, even though they're literally, you know, just... Like, are you freaking kidding me?
We knew that the enemy was the fucking Nazis based on solely the trailers and the fact that it's a Captain America movie.
When Captain America throws his mighty shield, all those who choose to oppose his shield must yield.
I'm sorry, the only gun I have to hand is a Lego blaster pistol, otherwise I would have killed myself by now.
You were gonna kill yourself in Minecraft.
As Phillips paced, Steve entered the headquarters. He had changed into a clean set of clothes that actually fit, but he looked tired from the events the past few days. No, he fucking hadn't. He was still in the same clothes. He was still fucking barefoot in this scene, dumbass! Seeing him, Phillips grew even angrier. I asked for an army, he fumed. All I got is you, and you are not enough. Steve's head dipped as shame rushed over him. He felt like a failure. Everyone had put their faith in him, and he hadn't been able to keep Kruger from killing Erskine or taking the cyanide pill. Maybe you could dive to the bottom of that fucking canal and see if that damn extra vial of serum is still there, huh?
Who would have thought?
This is big brain time.
Didn't it shatter in the movie?
I
I think so.
While Phillips fumed, Senator Brent remained silent. Oh, that was I meant for that voice to be Senator Brent, not Phillips. Phillips is supposed to sound like, I asked for an army. All I got is you, and you are not enough. My Tommy Lee Jones is terrible. Whereas the colonel was a ball of nerves, Brent seemed eerily calm. He wasn't convinced that the experiment had been a failure. As if to prove it, he held up a copy of the day's paper. You've seen Steve here in action, he said. More importantly, the country's seen it. Walking closer, Phillips looked at the headline. It read, Mystery Man Saves Civilians. This was 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way a newspaper in that amount of time.
No way
At
even
least
now
give it a
that could
day.
happen.
Yeah, not even now. To be fair, I've seen hit pieces on recently deceased celebrities get made like within like an hour.
Yeah, but
10
we have
minutes is-
social media. They didn't have that back then.
Yeah, but even 10 minutes now is a stretch.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
without a doubt.
Yeah.
Unless you're like a game journalist website, which you can just spew out stuff in like a minute. So
When Captain America's book comes out, it sucks. Below it was an image of Steve taking the day before on the piers. He was using the cab door as a shield while Kruger fired. Brent waved the paper. You don't take a soldier, a symbol like this, and hide him in a lab. Turning to Steve, he flashed his trademark smile. The one that made him the successful senator he was. Excuse me. I thought I muted the microphone when I did that.
Huh. Wait, what happened?
Never mind. Son, do you want to serve your country? Steve nodded. On the most important battlefield of this war? Of course Steve wanted to help. That was the whole reason he was in this situation in the first place. It's all I want, he said. The senator's smile got larger as he walked over and clapped Steve on the back. Then congratulations. You just got promoted. It didn't take long for Steve's promotion to go into effect, but it wasn't exactly what he'd been expecting. A few days later, he found himself backstage in a small theater. His palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy, there's vomit on his sweater already, he mom's spaghetti, and he looked as if he was going to be sick to his stomach. One of Brant's aides stood next to him, running through what was about to happen. Steve could barely hear him. Steve barely heard him. I don't think I can do this, he said softly. When Brant had promised him he would get to take part in the greatest battle of all, he had pictured being on the front lines, battling the enemy and saving his fellow soldiers, not standing behind a curtain on a stage, preparing to do a song and dance act. But that was exactly what he was doing. Before Steve could get any more nervous, the show began. The curtains parted and a bugler walked onto the stage. He tilted his head back and blasted out a reveille. Then as the final notes faded, the band joined in, and a line of girls danced across the stage, legs kicking high into the air. As Steve watched with a mixture of horror and embarrassment, they began to sing. He's the star-spangled man with the star-spangled plan. He's Captain America. Excuse me, that's not how that went in the movie. As they sang out the last word, Steve took a deep breath and moved forward. The aide had told him what to do. He was supposed to just walk through the flag and say his lines to the audience, but he felt like a fool. He was dressed in what Senator Brant had decided made him look most like Captain America, the war's newest hero. Red boots and gloves. The boots are brown. Aren't they in the movie? Aren't the boots brown?
I think so.
Yeah, I believe so.
I think so.
I think his military outfit, they were brown.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Sorry,
military version.
I was watching an animation of someone's attempt at a Pokemon Platinum Nuzlocke, and I'm like, see, TFS? That's how you do it. I'm sorry, their Platinum Nuzlocke was a massive L.
Okay, they were red. I'm stupid.
We were all
that was a me stupid, not a book stupid.
It's an all of us stupid.
Even though I'm pretty sure the book is going to make up for it.
A pair of blue pants, and a shirt covered with stars and stripes. I mean, it's a shirt on top of a shirt. There's like a white undershirt underneath, but... To top off the look, he'd been given a mask with wings and a cheap red, white, and blue shield. Cheap. Sort of, but not really. Stephen refused to look in the mirror, but he was mortified anyway. How was he supposed to inspire people to support the war while looking like a kid in a Halloween costume? And what if the audience realized he'd never even set foot on the front line? A shove from the aide reminded Steve that he hadn't moved. He stumbled forward past the flag and saw just a handful of kids sitting in the audience. So much for the big crowd Brant had promised, Steve thought. There were a lot of people here in the crowd when Steve went there the first time.
Yeah.
Taking a deep breath, he eyed the cue card he had pasted on the back of his shield and began to speak. Oh, wow, they got that correct at least. Hello, folks, he said. Who here is ready to sock evil in the jaw? The kids let out a cheer, and Steve felt his shoulders relax. Maybe this wouldn't be so bad after all. Line break. Thoughts so far?
This is the least offensive part of the book.
Yes, because they actually bothered to do something that
we can't ignore
actually comes from the damn book, movie, comic. Comes from the movie and the comic. Herpaderp.
Who'll hang the noose on the goose, stepping goons from Berlin.
Yeah, I don't really understand what the fuck is going on here because like they're dancing around the fact that they're dancing around the fact that the villains are the Nazis.
Like, and we knew like practically right away that the villains are the Nazis in the movie, and it's like, are you kidding me?
Whoever's
It's almost as bad as when JoJo had to call the Nazis German soldiers.
When JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Because wasn't that before World War II? JoJo Part 2.
Kevin?
What?
Wasn't that part? Wasn't JoJo Part 2 before World War II?
Nope. It took place during World War II.
Okay. SpavVy, any thoughts?
It's just trash writings.
Yeah. Well, because,
like a lot of this, I'm like, that didn't happen in the movie.
Well, because, most people back in the day actually did not refer to them as Nazis. They just referred to them as Germans.
Yeah.
Yeah. Soldiers going into World War II did not go to war thinking, oh, I'm going to fight Nazis. No, they're going into war thinking, oh, I'm going to go fight Germans.
Yeah. But hey, they're not even mentioning the fact that it's Germans or Nazis in this. For the next few months, Steve traveled all over the United States performing his Captain America show. At first, the crowds are small and Steve messed up a lot. But slowly, things got better and the stages got bigger. He went to Buffalo and tripped as the girls pulled him into their dance. In Milwaukee, he stayed on his feet and even managed to pose for photos with babies and their mothers. When he got to San Francisco, the stage was the biggest yet, and Steve felt proud when he walked through the flag and bent a pole into a red cross. What the fuck?
Why are they having him do that shit and not just have him fight freaking Nazis?
I mean, he punched out Hitler in the damn show in the movie, so.
Yep. And he punched Hitler in the cover of the first ever Captain America comic.
Yeah. With a smile, he handed it to a nurse in the audience and blushed when she batted her eyes at him. The tour continued. Steve went to St. Louis and Chicago, where film crews recorded his act. Later that night, by the way, they're going to use that later on in a way that makes no fucking sense. Keep that in mind. Later that night, he saw himself on the big screen, and for the first time, he began to believe that maybe Senator Brent was onto something. Stephen never actually fought in the war, but what the public didn't know couldn't hurt them. In Philadelphia, a young boy came up to him with a pen and paper in hand. "Hey, Cap," he said, eyes wide as he took in his hero. "My brother says you took out 4 German tanks all by yourself." Oh, now they mention that it's Germany. Steve patted the boy on his head. "Sorry, kid, tell your brother he's wrong." The boy's eyes filled with disappointment until Steve added, "It was 8 German tanks." As the boy cheered, Steve grinned. He was beginning to believe his own hype. There were Captain America comics and photos. He was on the big screen, and he played the sold-out theaters.
Sorry.
He was a bona fide hero. There was nothing he couldn't do. And then Steve was sent to the front line. End chapter, thoughts so far.
Excuse me, they didn't send Steve out. They never sent Steve out.
Keep, you're very low, Kevin.
They never sent Steve out.
Can you elaborate on that?
Steve never went out to fight. Steve was never sent in by the army to go fight. He went on his own. He went undercover, or thanks to Peggy, who appropriated a plane to go to Germany.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yes, we know that. This isn't.
So why are they saying he went to the front lines? That's bull. That is such bull crap.
Okay, no, you're actually misinterpreting something.
What am I misinterpreting?
Okay, we'll get to that. SpavVy, any thoughts?
Nope.
Dylan, any thoughts?
I think it's sad that the most ever put into this book is about fucking extending the whole
Propaganda.
showbiz thing, or the whole stage play thing he does. It's kind of sad when that's like the most elaborated part in this whole novelization.
Yeah. Captain America had taken his home country by storm, but Brant wasn't satisfied. He wanted Steve to go to where the action was and energize the troops. Full of confidence and sure that he would be a star across the ocean, Steve flew over to Italy. The U.S. camp he was sent to was 5 miles from the front. When he got there, Steve took in the makeshift tents, the diverse troops, and the trucks that drove in and out at all hours carrying soldiers.
Diverse troops. Excuse me, this was World War II. It wasn't all that.
It was like this in the comics, to be fair. It was like this in the comics and the movie, to be fair.
Yes, but here's the thing. Why would the adjective you use to describe troops ever be diverse?
Good question.
Like, it's not a matter of fucking, it's not a matter of like the fact that they used it hit at all. It's the fact that they used it in such a it's such a strange way, you know?
Yeah.
And like even so, like it's World War II. It's World War fucking II. This is before the army was desegregated.
Can I tell you guys something interesting about the X-Men 90s arcade game?
Shoot.
In a redubbed version of that
Preferably
game...
me. Preferably shoot me.
In a redubbed version of that game, every single male character in that game is voiced by Kyle Bear, while every single female character in that game is voiced by Mela Lee.
Wow.
Huh.
To which I'm just like, is this the Kyle Bear Mela Lee show? X-Men, welcome to die. Does that make it more mimetic or less mimetic?
No, fucking no.
I think it makes it more mimetic, because now you can picture every male character echoing the same next time on Dragon Ball Z thing.
Yeah.
They went out of the way to get Kyle Haber. Why couldn't they just get like the Funimation cast or something?
Kyle Bear was an LA actor by the time they redubbed the game.
Ah, okay.
As in nobody from Funimation.
Oh, is he? Oh, yeah, is he? Yeah, he's a LA actor now, right?
LA and Funimation, as in he can go both ways.
Ah, okay.
Oh my, says George Takei.
Oh my. Ooh.
It was nothing like the theaters and events back in America where they didn't know the true horrors of war. After changing into his costume, Steve took his spot on the wings and waited for the dancing and girls to do their part. Then, as he had done countless times before, he stepped through the flag and shouted, "How many of you are ready to help me sock old Adolf in the jaw?" And they actually referenced Hitler, indirectly. He was met with silence. Dozens of soldiers sat in their seats, glaring at him. Their uniforms were dirty, and their faces lined with fatigue, missing comma between dirty and there. Some of them had old wounds, missing comma, while others had fresh bandages on, having just returned from the battle. Not one of them smiled at Steve. Looking over his shoulder, he tried to find a way out, but there was no one waiting to signal him off the stage, so he forged on. "Okay," he said hesitantly, "I'm gonna need a volunteer." "I already volunteered," one of the soldiers shouted, his voice angry. "How do you think I got here?" Steve opened his mouth to respond when another soldier shouted, "Bring back the Goyles!" The crowd began to boo and jeer. Steve was taken aback. He had never experienced anything like this before. As Steve retreated from the stage, the boos increased. Then tomatoes started flying. Holding up his shield, Steve blocked them, but it was a foolhardy effort. Even if none of the tomatoes hit him, he still felt like the biggest buffoon this side of the Atlantic.
I'm sorry. Every time I hear booing crowd, I feel like I should be that one guy in that crowd that says, "You suck."
Dude, you suck.
Dude, you suck.
If we ever do crowd chatter with a lot of booing, and just have me do the "you suck."
Yes.
Okay, good news. We're almost halfway through the damn book.
Almost
Oh, wow.
halfway through.
Almost halfway. Yeah.
We go through the whole damn thing tonight.
I don't think so. I wanna try and get it done on like tomorrow, maybe.
Good.
Tomorrow could work, yeah.
I got nothing better to do tomorrow, so maybe we could do our commentary Batman versus Robin then.
Maybe. What time are you free tomorrow? Everybody?
I should be free pretty much just about any time. I don't have to do any pet sitting or anything like that, so.
Yeah, same here.
Just about all day for me.
Okay. That settles it then. A short while later, Steve sat in the empty bleachers, his head cradled in his hands. The soldiers had left, probably to go find real entertainment, or talk about the real war and laugh about the man in the silly costume. Shame washed over Steve in huge waves. What had he been thinking? All this time he had fooled himself into believing he was a hero, a man of the people. But he was nothing but a joke. The men in the audience today were the real heroes. They had put their lives on the line time and time again, while all Steve had done was cheat his way to being a star. He hadn't even done anything with his superpowers since he had chased Kruger after the explosion. Had Erskine been wrong to think he was worthy? Had Phillips been right to doubt him? Oh no, considering that was entirely out of your control. The click of heels on the ground made Steve look up. He stifled a groan. Peggy Carter was walking toward him. He hadn't seen her since he had gone out on his tour of duty, quote-unquote. And he really didn't like seeing her now. Didn't feel like seeing her now. She probably thought he was a joke, too. And he didn't want to see the disappointment in her beautiful eyes. She took a seat next to him, and he met her gaze. He was surprised to see compassion there instead of disappointment, and his heart jumped in his chest. I'm told you're quite the sensation back in the States, she said, her voice gentle. Steve shrugged. America's New Hope, he said bitterly, quoting one of the many newspaper headlines he'd read. Then he sighed. He shouldn't take out his frustration on Peggy. You know, he went on, all I dreamed about was coming overseas, being with the men on the lines, seeing you. And I finally get everything I wanted. And I'm wearing tights. And it's dark and we're wearing sunglasses. For a moment, Peggy didn't say anything. She wouldn't admit it out loud, but Steve's words had made her heart beat faster. He's also not wearing tights. Those are pants. He had wanted to see her? Did that mean what she thought it meant? Shaking her head, she smiled at Steve. I thought you looked dashing, but I rather did have a thing for Al Flynn and Robin Hood. At least that movie is out by then. Jesus Christ. The worst part is, Steve said, so lost in his own misery that he had missed Peggy's obvious flirtation, I was starting to buy it. None of us thought it would turn out like this, Peggy said, but you've done well. Steve knew that Peggy was only trying to help. Still, he was tired of thinking about Captain America, because every time he did a fresh wave of humiliation rolled over him, you're missing a comma there. Every time he did, comma, a fresh wave of humiliation rolled over him. It's not that hard. It's actually something that the fucking grammar checker will check for you. Good God.
Yeah, Grammarly, and it'll check for you.
Changing the subject, he asked,
Oh, Grammarly's my best friend.
You actually asked for once. Jesus Christ. He had been kept vaguely informed of what Peggy and Phillips had been doing since Kruger attacked the lab. He knew they'd been chasing Hydra, but he also knew that they'd had little luck. From the look on Peggy's face, he knew the reports were right. We got word that Schmidt was moving through a force through Azana, testing some kind of new weaponry, she said after hesitating. 200 men went in, she went on. Less than 50 came back. Your adoring crowd tonight contained all that's left of the 107th. Steve sat bolt upright. 107th, he repeated. Peggy nodded. Yes, why? He didn't bother to explain. Pulling her up, Steve began hurrying her down the bleachers. Didn't he go on without her and she followed him in the movie?
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, yeah.
Heading toward the tents, he had to see Colonel Phillips now. The 107th was Bucky's unit, and he hadn't been in the audience. Steve felt panic grip him. Had Bucky been captured, or worse? Okay, line break. Thoughts?
Sorry, I'm busy listening to better music than this trash heap of a novel. Which, by the way, in case you're not sure, Alex, it is from Fire Emblem Three Houses. Play the goddamn game, man.
I can now, thankfully.
Good. I sound so needlessly aggressive.
Good. Play the game. It's really fucking good, dude.
Hey, it's Nathan Explosion. Hello.
Hey. Just thought I'd come by. Give you a little bit of a break from this stupid fucking book.
They made this in a month. Fucking sucks. I'm sure anybody who's seen Martin Billany's Naruto abridged stuff would get it.
Yeah.
Martin did not want to do Naruto stuff, hence why the last thing he did of Naruto sucked so much.
Fucking sucks. Alright.
I swear Naruto abridged as a whole might as well be dead.
Alright, I gotta go now. Gotta record the new Death album, guys. See you later.
Okay, so what do you guys know about Fire Emblem Three Houses besides
Sad
the fact
thing
that
is,
Alex
doing the Nathan Explosion voice is easier on my voice than reading this fucking book.
I have seen the devil's eyes in Cool Dude. Sadly, I could do a Marge Simpson voice, but unfortunately it hurts my throat.
Yes, Marge Simpson voice hurts a lot.
Hey, Alex, I had an idea if we do Superman Doomsday. Could I voice Martha Kent with the Marge Simpson voice?
Sure.
Thank you.
Superman, doesn't Doomsday speak in Superman Doomsday?
No, he doesn't.
Oh, no. Oh, damn.
I said Alex an interesting take on the character of Doomsday. Alex, tell them what I did.
I think it's easier if you just put on the voice.
My name is Doomsday, the Merciless Babe, based off of Scaramouche from Samurai Jack, one of Tom Kenny's best roles.
Looks like a talking penis.
What a freak. Looks like a talking penis.
Wow, what a freak. Looks like a talking penis. Scaramouche, baby.
And then we ended up suggesting that one of the gags in there be a Doomsday saying, or someone saying about Doomsday, nuke the fucker. And they're like, sir, we don't have any nukes. We also don't have any guns.
A few minutes later, Steve burst inside Philip's tent. I hope he's okay. I hope he didn't break anything or tear anything.
Yeah, heaven forbid.
The colonel had arrived with Peggy after their last unsuccessful attempt to find Hydra. Now he had the miserable task of going through the paperwork to see who had survived the Azano attack. There were a lot of names to go through. When Steve entered the tent, Philip's eyes narrowed. He took in Steve's ridiculous costume and wondered, not for the first time, what Erskine had been thinking. I want to see the casualty list, Steve demanded. Phillips raised an eyebrow, then pointed at the insignia on his collar, her stating his rank. Was this kid for real? Did he think that even with a fake title like Captain he could order him around? But Steve wasn't going to be dissuaded. I don't need the whole list, he went on. Just one name, Sergeant James Barnes from the 107th. There was a moment of strained silence as Steve glared at the colonel, who glared right back. But then Peggy spoke up. Sir, officially Rogers is still SSR. Phillips sighed. She was right. While the colonel didn't like it, Steve had the right to get this information. He began to leaf through the giant pile of papers in front of him. Each paper had the name, title, and contact information of a man who had been killed in the line of duty. The name does sound familiar, he finally said. He couldn't find the paper now, but he was sure Barnes was among one of the casualties. I'm sorry. Steve paled. Bucky had died while fighting while Steve had been playing a clown. It wasn't fair. Turning, Steve's eyes fell on one of the maps that Phillips had tacked to the wall. It showed aerial footage of a Hydra facility. Given that SSR had just lost men in the same vicinity, Steve figured this is where the prisoners of war were being held. What about the others? He asked, turning back to the colonel. You're planning a rescue mission, right? The colonel started in his seat as though about to stand up and hit Steve for insubordination, but a glance from Peggy stopped him. Instead, he just said, Yeah, it's called winning the war. The men from the 107th were a lost cause. Sending in a team to try and rescue them would only result in more casualties that the army couldn't afford. But if you know where they are, Steve started to say, but Phillips stopped him. They're 30 miles behind the lines, he said. Through some of the most heavily fortified territory in Europe. We'd lose more men than we'd save. Then with a nod, Phillips dismissed Steve. Turning, Steve left the tent. Phillips may not have had any intention of rescuing those men, but Steve wasn't going to sit by and do nothing. Not anymore. Hang on. He'd figure out a way to that facility. He had to. He owed it to Bucky. Steve grabbed one of the Dancing Girls USA helmets, the one with the A on it, and dashed off. It was time for action. Captain America was about to go behind enemy lines to rescue captured American soldiers. Steve Rogers was finally going to war.
Are we sure that action isn't what I'm thinking right now?
I'm just wondering why they skipped a bunch of stuff and went completely out of order with every fucking thing that's going on here. Seriously, guys, the fuck?
Indeed. They can't even write novels for children. I swear.
Yep.
Even the Pokemon manga is better written than this trash heap. And you know, those are targeted towards youngsters. I have everything up to Black 2 and White 2, which unfortunately did not receive a continuation. I'm just like salty as fuck because it ends on a goddamn cliffhanger. I refuse to try to read the X and Y stuff because then it just gets even more stupid, and how the novels are just now tiny little thin pieces of paper. As thin as the piece of cheesecake my dad once gave my older sister one Christmas.
Okay, so that's going to be our stopping point for now. Thoughts so far?
Good. Fucking sucks.
It does.
Yeah.
The grammar's terrible.
Grammar's terrible and all over the place. The writing is very out of order, and it also just Smurf.
And the only redeeming quality this book has is that there's a movie that's that it's
the movie
stole
that it's based on is so much better.
Yeah. Yeah, that's its only redeeming quality. There's a better version of this. It's called the movie.
It's called the movie.
So Alex, do you think tomorrow we could do Batman versus Robin?
Probably not. I gotta go to the gym too.
Okay. Then next Saturday, they will do that movie. Yes, we've been doing the DC animated movie universe on top of doing the Paul W.S. Anderson Faps to His Wife movies, otherwise known as the Resident Evil film series. Paul's like, yeah, Mila.
Well, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't blame the dude.
Okay, so who knows of Fate's Stay Night?
I do.
I do.
All right. All right.
I haven't watched the whole thing, but
okay,
yeah, I'm aware of it.
The first anime was a poor attempt at incorporating elements from Unlimited Blade Works and Heaven's Feel into what is supposed to be the Stay Night route when Shiro gets with Arturia / Baber. Then they tried to make an Unlimited Blade Works movie, and they half-assed that. So then, and Studio Dean did not bother doing a Heaven's Feel thing. Instead, at UFO Table, Abel decided to do Fate Zero, a prequel anime based on the light novel of the same name, and which also got a manga adaptation that is yet to be continued. God damn it! I'm sorry, I love the Fate Zero manga, and I hate that it was discontinued in North America. Anyway, then we got the Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works anime, which ends up being significantly better than the Unlimited Blade Works movie, but still has quite a number of plot holes in it that would make more sense in the original visual novel. And then we got the Heaven's Feel 3-part movie trilogy. The movie trilogy of Fate Stay Night Heaven's Feel, which so far only 2 have been released on home release. The third movie came out a while ago. Oh, but I have yet to see it. Because I don't have any way of viewing it. There's no pirating website that I know of has actual footage of it. Plus,
before we ramble on for too long, I should probably ask what everybody's final thoughts are before we end the stream.
It sucks.
It sucks.
That's my last thought.
It's big pile of dog doo doo.
Yeah.
Okay. So are we done with the stream?
You want to know what else? You want to know what's worse? You want to know some pretty bad shit here?
What?
I have all of the other MCU junior novels either right here with me or ordered.
Good God.
I make mistakes sometimes.
I think we all do.
I'm like.
Anyway, I gotta log off and make myself
the Iron Man.
Wait. Before we go, SpavVy. So Alex, so remember that thing I told you about in Justice League vs. Teen Titans ends with Beast Boy and Raven. SpavVy and I ended up coming up with something interesting for that if we should ever be interested in bridging it. So basically, for the initial scene, I had the idea of like after Raven looks down long enough, realizing Beast Boy's in a state of undress. She's in like, Gar, I may appreciate your gung-ho attitude, but I don't think the rest of the team will.
And meanwhile, she's just kind of like thinking to herself.
And then let's say we do like a post credits gag.
Yeah.
Then Raven's is thinking to herself,
nice.
And then still in that state of undress is like, why do I feel like I'm getting preyed upon?
Like, just make the scene of her looking at him just like last longer.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Right.
Okay.
Does that sound out of place to you? Alex?
I'm like not even. I did not internalize a word you fucking said, man. I lost.
Oh my. Ugh.
I'm
Alright,
sorry.
I've got to go hop on another live stream. It was
Okay.
nice.
Like I said, Alex.
Yeah, I gotta eat.
I ended up coming up with the idea of basically of it for the idea that I had was like Raven and looking down on BB during that scene that I told you about, and then she's like, Gar, or I appreciate your gung ho attitude, but I don't think the rest of the team will appreciate it. And then, and let's say like in a somewhat a post credits gag or something, and we cut back to that same scene in an alternate scenario, and then Beast Boy's like, "Why do I get the feeling I'm being preyed upon?" As Raven just like stares at him.
Yeah, just like nice.
Yes, we have characterized Raven to be as thirsty as humanly possible.
Okay, I got it now.
Someone gets that girl a drink.
Get that girl a drink. She's dehydrated.
We get her a bottle of water that she just pushes me away.
Anyway, I gotta go.
I like it.
It's somewhat similar to the pilot the vagina gag that you had in Ava Alternative. Because that's why I was saying, he was like, is this going to sound out of place? But then I'm like, no, wait, the pilot the vagina gag exists.
Yeah. Now, for those of you who are wondering what that is, go watch NGE Alternative Saga Episode 2. But watch Episode 1
watch
first.
it. Anyway, I gotta go.
Yeah, I gotta go too. See y'all later. See y'all next time. Bye.
Bye.
Boink.